Yo, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Got a fucking echo again. I don't understand why I have an echo. Oh, maybe, wait. Test. It's so weird. Let me see if I can fix this real quick, guys. I don't know why it's starting with an echo every time. I don't know what the fuck's causing it. It's fucking stupid. Give me 1 second, guys. I don't know if I can get rid of this. Test. Ah, fuck, I can't see it. Test. I don't know. I guess we're gonna roll with this. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm gonna have to fix this shit after stream. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I don't know why the audio has a fucking echo. It's super annoying. It just started doing it when I came back from fucking Christmas, and I haven't been able to figure out what's causing it. Like, there's no extra audio things open. It's fucking weird. The joys of streaming with shitty technology. Alright. I think we're set up. Alright, so, sorry about that, guys. Let's see, what are we gonna do today? So we're gonna play PoE. I think we're gonna react to some videos. I just gotta get everything set up real quick. It should take like 2 seconds. I think we're gonna start with this gaming journalist video. If I can find it. Where is it? Boom. Nope, not it. Where the fuck is it? YouTube, kick. YouTube, there it is. Found it. Alright. Well, that's in a weird spot. Why is it right in the middle of my screen? I am going to make it a little bit bigger. I still want you guys to be able to kind of see the game, so I'm going to run it like this. If you guys really want me to, I can make that full screen in the game in the little box. Yeah, I don't know. We'll do the first video like this and see what y'all decide y'all want to do. It just makes it so you can't really see much of the game. Alright, first video. We're gonna go with the rise and fall of gaming journalism. Asmongold reacts to it. We're gonna watch his video because I like his commentary.
Is to only provoke negative reactions.
No. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna shut the gaming. I'm gonna leave the gaming audio on, but I'm gonna turn the music off. There we go. Save. Alright. Log in. And then we'll start this video. What's everyone up to this morning? We're on a little early today. Ow, my fucking back. Fuck. Fucking back is just wrecked, man. Alright, we'll start this video in a second. I'm gonna show you, so, yesterday I was getting kind of frustrated. We had lost a bunch of keys. So last night, I hopped on for about 2 hours and farmed keys for the day. So we have a couple at least. A couple high ones, a bunch of medium ones, but we can make these higher. But we got a couple for 12 and up. Right now we finished Cataclysm Wake tier 13, so we're on tier 14 now. So we have to clear tier 14 maps. I have cleared one. I have not cleared many others. We are working our way here to this group of towers, as we are going to try to get all these towers together and farm like Delirium or Breaches or something like that. So we're working our way that way. We're right here. We have a boss fight right here with a breach. And we also have, wait, I can't remember which one's Breach and which one's Delirium. Oh, wrong map. What am I doing? Okay, yeah. So this is Breach. I still don't really know how to do the breaches exactly. It closes really fast for me. What's up, Ava Hicks? I'm fine. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to work our way this way. We're just going to be farming keys as fast as we can. I've switched my build around a little bit, but not a whole lot. Still trying to get rid of these fucking gloves. What did I change? Oh, I put this ring on. This ring actually has +8 to all elemental resistance and then +11. So it's +19 to all. And then this one has +15 to all. So we got all of our resistances up. So now we are capped on all three, except for chaos. I haven't found a lot of shit with chaos, but I think what we can do is, as we re-gear, is get rid of some of these runes that go towards fire and cold and stuff. Let me fix. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to fix YouTube chat. For some reason, YouTube chat's not popping up. YouTube Studio, content, live. Just give me 1 second, man. I'm gonna turn off filtering, because I think it's filtering it. Done. Show more. Turn those off. Comments on. Moderation. None. There we go. No moderation. I need to moderate my chat. Free speech absolutists. Alright, we're good. Alright. So, we will start burning through these. And we will start this video. Wow, I lost 3 people. That was weird. Okay. That was fucking fast. Alright. Fuck it. I don't know. I don't know why YouTube chat didn't move at all. Alright, so we're gonna do that. I don't know where else we can really, like, there's a bunch of towers together right here. We're just looking for grouped towers. And there's a bunch right there. I think the best group we got close, though, is right here. Where's it at? Yeah, right here. This fucking map is huge. Alright, so we will knock out this boss, because we need to get, we're gonna have to go this way to get this tower. We'll hit this one and then we'll work our way around. Alright, let's see what kind of keys we got. Let's see what we're gonna use. If we have one that's kinda high, I think we're gonna use this on the boss. I don't want to use a 14 on the boss yet. We're gonna get killed. Alright, I think that we'll try this one. This could go interesting because that's 50% elemental resistance, and a lot of our damage is elemental, so this could go poorly. We also want precursor tablets, which means we need delirium. Which passive does it add? I can't remember which one adds. Fuck, I don't feel like Googling it right now. One of them adds precursor tablets as drops, but I don't remember which one it is. Alright, let's get this going. Alright, I am gonna fire. I mean, I was gonna wait for people to get in here to fire this video up, and I thought we had everyone, but apparently not. We dropped everybody. I'm on a little early today. 15 minutes or so, people should pop in. I'm gonna leave the video paused for right now because we only have 1 viewer. I'll start it once we get some people in here. Dynasty Warrior came out. I think we're gonna watch some videos on it today to see if it's something we want to play. It's got pretty good reviews. I have not seen any gameplay yet though, other than what the developers released. Want to look at the gameplay first? If it's got good gameplay, it's definitely gonna be something we're gonna play. God, I gotta go back and play Call. I haven't played Call of Duty in like a month. Since this came out, I haven't touched Call of Duty. Fucking nose itches. We're racking up cash, man. Since we just started farming, I think we're at like almost 700,000 gold. We need more stellar amulets. I'm trying to get the fucking astral amulet, man. I've been using all my chance orbs on it. But I think I've used like 15 and I haven't got shit. Chance orbs are like PoE's version of a fucking lottery. Like you get a unique item or it destroys the item, one or the other. Nope, you're not getting me, buddy. Fucking melee attack. There we go, I got tier 13. We've been getting, since the update yesterday, we have been getting a lot of waystone drops, which is good. That new update really, if they fixed a lot of shit, man. They did a lot of, the update was huge. It did a lot of stuff, man. We got more enemies. We got better drops. They fixed a bunch of bugs. Get away from me, get away from me, get away from me. Take these double gauntlets. What are double gauntlets? Never even seen those before. No, 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 no. Oh, that motherfucker. He teleported on top of me. I'm used to having a little bit, not quite full fire resistance, so fire damage used to fuck me up. It doesn't do it as bad anymore. We just gotta get our chaos damage up, and we're capped. We're capped on all of our resistances, which is a good thing. Now, if I can just get our fucking armor, like I moved a couple points around, so I'll show you guys in a second. Hold on. Jesus Christ. I mean, it definitely isn't the best mapping build. Like, you could definitely go with Galvanic Shards and probably run a better mapping build. And then I have to switch my whole build, and I like running grenades for some reason. But what we did is die. Okay, so yesterday, passive skill tree, we were having a problem with survivability. So this is my setup right now. So we had some points in this. So this helps us kill rares. It's pretty much all this little thing does. We want to go this way, grab this one, then go down and grab this one. We can leave this one blank. That's the goal. But I removed those because we had most of those done. And what I did is I came down here, and I hadn't took this, so I took this. So I could increase the armor and evasion, increased invasion rating, and I also took something else. What did I take? Oh, okay, here. So we went this way to get plus 10 attributes. Well, now we go this way, and we got Jack of all trades, which is 2% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attribute, which comes out to like 20% damage increase. And I think that's it. That's all we changed. But it definitely increased our survivability. Our survivability is a lot better now. We have about 4,000 health, 3,500 health, and we have about a 3,500 shield. So we got about 7,000 health. Definitely could be better. I mean, I could be running energy shield, but then I have to waste a lot of points. Next thing I need to do is loot. I gotta do loot filters. I might do that. We might do that on stream. I found a website that lets you set up loot filters. It gets rid of all the shit we don't need, so we don't have to look at it on the ground, try to figure out what everything is. Probably should have said it earlier. Let's see. What did we miss? We should have gone back there. We're going to... Fuck. We might have to backtrack. The boss is back there. Oh, maybe not. Alright, that's going to be the final boss. Let's go up here and kill this guy first. Oh, their boss is here. Was here. Oh, bags are full. Fuck it. Alright, let's teleport out real quick. Alright, man. I'm going to wait like another 5 minutes. If nobody else comes in, I'm just going to start this video. What am I doing? Fucking brain is working in slow motion this morning. Whoa, 40% lightning resistance. Let's not kill that. That's really high. that's some high gloves, man. That might be our replacement. Fire resistance. So how much fire resistance is too much? We're at 92. Lightning's the lowest. Cold. Huh. Alright, let me see. Cold and lightning. God, these might end up being good. We're just short to fire damage. Or fire. Damn, man, so close. I'm gonna lose fire resistance though, and I don't think I can. It's too much. Fire's at 92%. So it's 10, 15, 17 too much. What's up, Calliope? Yeah, I don't add people in Discord, my guy. I get 50 messages a day like that. Alright, fuck, man. I kind of want to use this. It has fire damage on it, too, which is what we use. But then we lose chaos. Fuck, man. Let's see what happens. We're going to corrupt it and see what happens. Maybe it's good, and maybe it's bad. Really just want the extra slot. $168, $153. Wow, that's pretty high. The only thing left to do is corrupt it. Oh, we did. We got it. We got the second. Fuck, man. Okay, so if we put that in there. What does that put our stats at? So we're short on fire by a little bit. So what can we swap to get fire back? Those have all, so I can't get rid of those. I would say this is the move right here, but the problem is I need that. It's +6 to all attributes, +18 to all attributes, and I need the fucking points. I just don't think I have a necklace that can replace that. Yeah, I don't think I have a necklace that can fucking replace that. It's like unreplaceable necklace at this point. Fuck. It would need to have attributes on it. A lot. These aren't even going to be close. The problem is when I drop it, I lose so many stats. So what does that leave me with not working? We're short on intellect by a ton. So there's no way we can't remove that. And that's unremovable. These are great gloves, but I don't think I can use them. I mean, I could put double fire resistance into them. I guess. I don't know how much that helps me. I don't like that we can't, like with runes, that we can't fucking take them out and put them back in. What the fuck? 1% to maximum. Why would you want 1%? Let's see, if I put fire in there, I get what, 24? So if I get 24 fire resistance, what does that put me at? Oh, that will be enough, but then we need chaos. We're gonna be short 1 fire resistance to use 1 gem. Sorry guys, my brain's trying to figure this out. Give me a minute. I just don't... I don't want to lose too much chaos resistance either. I think we had another pair of boots. It says lightning resistance and cold resistance. Both of those can come down. Alright, what happens if I take those out? What does that put me at? Oh, for sure. We can definitely do that. So do we have a better pair of boots is the question. It needs to have movement speed on it. These are junk. They're corrupted already. We don't have movement. The problem is we don't have fucking movement speed on any of them. Fuck, man. This is so hard. Gear in this game is so fucking hard to swap around. Well, this has movement speed on it. It's the same though. That's 15%. I just hate stuffing this full of fucking gems and just getting... I have too much fire. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm gonna have to do it. Like, I don't have a choice. It's just annoying. I'm just gonna do it so we can move on. Alright, it's done. Where the fuck? The hell's all my gear at? Oh, there it is. Alright, let's go. Currency, let's dump this currency. So we're all capped. We just have really low fucking whatchamacallit. Like, we need to start swapping out other pieces of gear. We're gonna have low chaos resistance, which is gonna be a fucking problem. Dude, look how high our cold resistance is. That shit's all, like, super overcapped. Like, it doesn't need to be nearly that high. Alright. I've waited a few minutes. Nobody's come in. We're gonna go ahead and start this video.
Nobody
This is
likes
how
them.
badly these companies have damaged their own reputation.
Yeah.
Almost every week, I see the same sentence pop up somewhere online that says, remember, you don't hate gaming journalists enough.
It's bad.
Whether it's in the comment section on a YouTube video, or a Facebook or Instagram post, or even on X, gamers seem to be unified in his thoughts across the internet. It's a clear
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes gaming journalism anymore. Like, even the gaming journalists don't like themselves.
Yeah, gaming journalism
Just
is
read
dead.
their Twitter
They're fucking,
bios if
they're
you,
vile,
if you think they
disgusting
do.
humans.
find that gamers genuinely wouldn't mind if the majority of
Yeah.
gaming journalism outlets just disappeared at this point.
Yep.
They have been. Yeah, they're done.
Gamers used to love the likes of IGN, for example, because it felt like they were one of us. But now to
Yeah.
see them lay off a lot more of their staff this month has sparked some interesting reactions online.
Dude, people, that's one of my favorite things, is that when layoffs happen at a company that people don't like, everybody is like spamming like W. They're like, yes, finally, fire them all. Yeah, but I hope the job losses get worse. Oh, they will. They absolutely will. What's going to end up happening is that the job losses will continuously get more and more extreme until it's basically just done, right? I mean, they're not going to be able to do anything.
A large part of the gaming community celebrated this as if this result is a form
No!
of justice, whereas another portion of the gaming community were saddened by the idea that the IGN they once loved has allowed itself to fall this far. So how did we get here? How is it that gaming journalists, much like many AAA gaming companies, have become so disconnected from their audience that it's come to this? Let's rewind for a second
It's
to what
super easy. How? I mean, they
Not gonna
allowed
say
people
anything.
that had agendas to write
Not
things.
gonna
It's the
say
same
anything.
thing that's happened to mainstream
Not gonna say
journalism.
anything at all.
I think the reason why it's more pervasive and it's more
Not gonna say a fucking word
it's
about
more
how fucking stupid the one
identified
shots
in
are.
gaming is because it's such a microcosm of people that are hyper fixated on it. So you have like a very high degree of competency and awareness, and that causes people to think and
Dumb
like realize
fucks,
the
man.
errors
Damn
and the
it.
sloppiness because it's niche, right?
it so much
And so
fucking
here's the
harder than it
thing.
needs to be.
I said this before. How many times have you read an article or something like that in a mainstream publication, and it turned out that it's total bullshit because you're an expert in that field? Now, my skeptical mind tells me that if every article that I read that I understand is bullshit,
This game
then I
tries
would also
super
assume that
fucking
every
hard to
article
make
that I
me hate
read
it.
that I don't understand
So it
is
tries
also
so
bullshit.
fucking hard. They're
I
like,
just
hey,
don't
we're gonna
know
make a
it.
great game, but we're gonna try hard as fuck to make you hate this great game.
a lot of us remember as the golden
They
age
need to
of gaming
fix the
journalism.
fucking
Yeah,
Back
armor.
then,
It is
gaming
fucking
magazines like
stupid.
Nintendo
Yeah.
Power,
Energy
PC
Shield
Gamer,
doesn't
and
give
Game
one shot.
Informer
I had all
weren't
those.
just magazines.
But I have to
Yep.
go all
They
the way
were a
across
gateway
the skill
into the
tree to get
world
to
we
Energy
love.
Shield.
Well,
fucking
they were,
stupid.
dude. This was gaming culture.
Type of dumb retard.
Like these
fucking developed that
magazines
fucking
were
system.
gaming
It's fucking
culture
dumb.
themselves.
This unique way of connecting with us, speaking a language
Yeah.
that every gamer just
Yeah, you
understood
get, like,
and
the
spoke
disc with it,
themselves.
with the-
This was
Fucking
especially
retards.
important at the time because
Ooh.
of how niche gaming was.
Look at that, bro.
That's what they are. They're stupid fucking
Damn,
retards.
bro, he is ready. Shit.
Dumb,
In most
uneducated
households.
fuck.
I'll never
It's
forget
like,
those
hey, let's
moments
make
when my
armor
mom would
suck
arrive
dick.
back from her monthly grocery shop. I'd race to the car because I knew she'd picked up a copy of either the
Yep.
PC format or the NAG magazine for me.
See, nice. See, for me,
Like, right there,
it
dude.
was, I would go
Full
to,
shield.
do you guys remember Albertsons?
That guy just hit me for
Like,
half
it
of
was a
my
grocery
fucking
store,
health.
a grocery chain.
This is a tier
And I
12.
remember we
Now,
would
I want
walk
to
into
point out,
Albertsons, and there'd be like
I
the
have yet
magazine
to die
racks,
on a tier
and,
15 or
like,
14.
halfway through,
I
or, like,
only
while my mom
die
was waiting in the
between
checkout
tier
line,
10 and tier
I
12.
would go and sit down
and I
and
don't
read
know
the
why
game
it is.
magazines.
There's something fucking weird.
Yeah, I would sit down
where
in
like
front
the
of the,
ball,
like,
the enemies, the
magazine
regular enemies, not
section
even
and
bosses,
read
the
them.
regular
Or
Those
some
are the
enemies
African
days.
variants
in tier
of gaming
10 to
magazines.
12
It was
can
such a
one
small
shot
thing,
you.
but my mom
But
knew that it
the
made me
enemies in
happy
tier
for the rest
14
of the week. I was
don't.
hooked on those magazines.
Like, it doesn't make fucking
Over
sense.
time,
It's
I'd even
inconsistent
figure
as
out
fuck.
which of the writers had the same taste in games as me, and I'd always look out for their names in these magazines.
never did that.
Gaming journalists
Yeah, I
used
never
to
did that
deliver
either.
an
I don't give a
amazing
shit who writes the
experience that a
articles.
lot of us will
But gaming
always
journalism's
remember.
dead,
When the
so-
internet took over, sites like
I don't
IG
even think that it was gaming journalists. I think that it was just like the time whenever you were a kid and it was just like a innocent hobby that just had people writing about it, that people just really liked the content. It was basically like reading Nintendo Power as a kid in
Alright,
the
we're
90s.
just gonna run through
like,
this, 'cause I think we
I'm
lost the
sorry, but
boss,
like watching Ninja play Fortnite is not even remotely close to as good as it was. Not like I know, you know, some kids might have, you know, fond memories. It was not even remotely close.
GameSpot, and GameFAQs kept the energy alive. They weren't just about reviews and news, they were about community. Forums were always buzzing with debates, walkthroughs, and theories. Early reviews felt like it was simply gamers talking to gamers, because that's exactly what it was. It wasn't just about the games, it was about the culture. That era...
It went so hard that, I mean, the way that a lot of the WoW devs got hired is they were people that complained about EverQuest.
After this map, I'm going to put
Blizzard
blue
saw
filters
that
on,
and they said, well, God, these guys really don't fucking like the game. They really think they can do it better? Well, let's find out. And then they got hired. Jeff Kaplan, I think, is a good example of that.
Was about celebrating
Drain, my
games.
life is just
Big
draining
events like
right
E3 felt magical, where developers, journalists, and players came together to share in the excitement of announcements and reveals. It was a time when the line between fans and journalists was blurred, because at the end of the day, journalists were gamers too. But, like all golden ages, it didn't last forever. By the 2010s, cracks started to show. Traffic became the priority and sensationalism took over. Why? Because ad revenue now relied on clicks. And when your business model depends on clicks, trust and quality often disappear. News, reviews, and entertainment were no longer the product. You and I became the product.
I think this is a problem with like all types of media, is that when you get paid by views, there's going to be a, like, every type of monetization has a dark side, or it has like a negative outcome as well. But I think that really, like, so when gaming journalism, and I'm sure he's going to say this, Gamergate killed gaming journalism. That's what it was. And if you look at the graphs of like all these websites, you'll see that that's exactly
I think
what
he's
happened.
right. I think it didn't kill it
They were
immediately, but it
still
started the
growing until,
downfall.
like, Gamergate, that was the end of it.
But he's right.
Majority
Gamergate
of
was
news
the beginning of
outlets,
the
not just
downfall of
gaming
gaming
journalists,
journalism.
quickly
It went
learned
really,
that
it got really bad
sensationalism
from there.
equals profit, and where there's sensationalism, there is disconnect. It wasn't just clickbait though. There was also this new phenomenon of first come, first served. Instead of publishing a monthly magazine where journalists could spend more time refining and crafting something thought-provoking and entertaining, a never-ending rat race began. Companies now competed to get previews, reviews, and news out faster than the competition. Articles started feeling rushed, and reviews...
This is something that happened with YouTube as well. Like, how many of you guys remember, or you've played a game where people try to get guides out for new content as soon as possible, and they do it at the cost of the content itself? So, like, the guide will come out, but it'll be really shitty, or it won't be complete because it won't be ready, but, like, the title says that it's the full complete thing. Yeah, exactly right. And so that's a huge issue. The PoE2 shit? Yeah, the FXtra Life thing. Yeah, people are really critical about them for that reason.
Becoming increasingly more disconnected from gamers. It was clear that it didn't feel like it was gamers talking to gamers anymore.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people have grown so...
Why men are in trouble. I wish Resident Evil 2 let me be a more compassionate hero. Yeah, I think that also, like, this was another big difference.
These social
is that
justice fucking
when you looked at the
rejects
old
that bring this shit into
magazines,
gaming
it was
are
really
fucking
people
dumb.
talking about the game quality. And
I
you
wish
didn't
I
really
could
have as
empathize
much people
more.
that were
No,
like,
no,
it
I
was
just
more
want to fucking kill
celebration of
people
the
in the
games
game. Like, I don't
and
give a fuck
discussion
about
of the
that.
game
No gamers give a
at,
fuck
like,
about
a
that.
factual level.
Your
Then you started seeing, I
oversensitive
think
ass
this is
is the
another
only one
element
that
of
fucking
it,
feels that
is
shit.
that personal opinions of things are generally more popular because it's easier
The
to
world's
relate to
become
them
a
because
place
there's a lower
full
barrier
of a bunch
to
of
entry.
fucking soft
So what
pussies.
ends up happening is that people start making content about, like, their personal opinions on things. Those videos get more popular, and before you know it, that's all you see. So that's really what it is. Girl writers, well, I mean, I think that there were women writers for the old magazines
and
too.
bring back bullying.
I just think that, like, what really
Fucking fix
happened
this
is
shit.
that, like, you had people that used to be basically disseminating information, and then they started giving their viewpoints instead.
Tired of this. Just look at the recent reviews around Concord. Self-proclaimed critics gave this game a 7 out of 10 or even an 8 out of 10, while literally the entire gaming community rejected this game into oblivion. Saying these reviews felt out of touch is an understatement. There is so obviously a disconnect between these journalists and actual gamers.
Well, there's an intentional disconnect. They do it on purpose because they don't want to... They want to push an agenda. They want you to believe something. And this is the same with mainstream media, too. Like, I've seen it happen with numerous different events. Think about how many known lies mainstream media just reports regularly, and they never really try to correct them or fix them. That's what happens all the time. They all know, yeah, exactly. And so they're not trying to, like, their message is more important than the truth. That's basically the way that they look at it.
You are who I think you are. You should give me another chance. I don't think we're alike at all.
Then there's the issue of access journalism. Game publishers started controlling the narrative more aggressively, using embargoes and restrictions to shape coverage.
If the catch-22 of video game journalism, what is this? What was the other article? Gaming the system, how games journalists lost his a job over a negative review. Yeah, I'm not sure about that specifically. It depends on why. But, yeah, I think that definitely happens. And that's one of the big weaknesses for anything. Concord got bad reviews. No, there were a lot of very positive reviews for Concord, actually.
Coverage. If a journalist criticized a game, they risked losing early access or exclusives in the future.
That's one of the big weaknesses, and I think that that's actually what the crux of Gamergate was actually about, is you have people that are effectively participants or beneficiaries of access journalism, and you do have some platforms and publications that don't take advantage of this, but back then especially, they were very few and far between. So you had people, and this is still an issue now, like, so I'll give you an example. I think that, like, think about the interaction and everything that I had with Elon Musk, you know, today on Twitter, right? And yesterday and, you know, past week or so, is that there is an implicit benefit to not covering things of people that could give you some sort of advantage in the future, right? And so that's what ends up happening, is that you have people that don't give feedback or they don't say certain things because it's more important for them to maintain a hegemony or maintain a relationship than tell the truth. And I think that sees it constantly. No, it's a 62 on Metacritic. I get your point, but Concord got slaughtered by everyone. I think a 62, like, I mean, a 62 for Concord. I feel like it was a 0.62 by the player base, though, right? I mean, so I think that's a pretty huge difference.
And when you're in a state of competing for clicks, losing that access can be devastating for your company. So do you tell the truth and risk backlash from the publishers? Or do you play it safe and lose credibility with your readers?
Yeah.
Definitely not an easy decision.
Well, oh, look at this. It's me. And so I think that it's also, you have, like, there's definitely pressure from publishers and developers. And I think also here's another really big issue. Is that if you're personal friends with publishers and developers and the people that work in the industry,
Jesus Christ,
you're going to just passively give them more leeway and more credibility because you know them personally, and so you're seeing it from their perspective, but that might not be a perspective that the rest of the audience sees.
Connect has definitely brought a major shift over the years. As trust in traditional outlets faded, a lot of gamers turned to the reviews and opinions of YouTubers. Creators like Angry Joe and the amazing Total Biscuit felt authentic. They didn't need publisher approval, and they weren't afraid to tell it like it is.
Man.
If a game was broken, they call it
Poison,
out.
Bro.
If it was great, you can
that shit
tell
hits
their
so
praise
fucking
was
hard.
genuine.
Like, this probably is like probably one of the greatest games I ever played my whole life. It's like, it's just so good. Elden Ring is a top 10 of all time generational game. It's not even a question. It's just, it's so good, man. Man, stop, man, stop. I hate this game, bro.
Now, this raises a big question. Why do companies like IGN still have an audience?
Okay.
If you've watched my previous videos, you would know that I'm just a casual gamer.
Yeah.
I don't always have time to sit down and actually play games, let alone dive into the drama around gaming journalism. So, let's say I see a game advertised from a franchise I loved as a kid or teenager.
You're gonna
or
play
from a
it.
company I used to praise and trust. Naturally, I would want to go where I've always gone
sorry, Ava,
for
no.
insight
I'm
on
not
these
chatting,
games.
sorry.
IGN,
You can't hear,
PC
you got to
Gamer,
turn your
or
fucking
Game
speakers
Informer.
on.
And honestly, most
Kotaku
casual
or
gamers
Polygon,
would probably
yeah.
stop their research right there. How do I know this? Because most of my friends, who are dads, husbands, accountants, financial advisors, tradesmen, and just generally
play
busy
games and
guys,
text and
still
chat. It
read and
doesn't
trust
work like that.
IGN. simply because they always have. Although
next
the
Well,
fun
IGN, I will say, is probably the
We're gonna run
most
12
favorable.
again.
Like, of all of the different publications, I think IGN is the least biased, but I do think that they're extremely biased as well. I think Black Myth Wukong is a great example of that. But they are the best bad one.
funny thing is, some of them have actually now stopped reading
It's my
IGN
opinion.
because of what happened with Dragon Age: The Veil God. I have a good friend who grew up loving the Dragon Age series. Years later, a new sequel, The Veil God, was announced, and he got pretty excited. Ahead of launch, he checks IGN's reviews and he sees a 9 out of 10.
Amazing.
Now, bear in mind, he does not keep up with the
Wow.
politics behind any of this stuff, because he is simply a very busy guy. Now,
Yeah, this is the thing too, is that he's right about this, is that you get the normies who get hoodwinked by this kind of stuff. Because like they're like, this guy is, you know, like we said, like like an accountant, right? Like he's not thinking, he's not watching, you know, like, oh, well, they're giving this game, like there's a non-binary character in the game. They're not even thinking about that, right?
this confirms his excitement. There are no warnings, no caveats, just another
Yeah.
Dragon Age with a 9 out of 10 from IGN.
Of course.
So the game launches, and he finally gets to play it. And he is obviously blindsided. The game does not live up to its predecessors. It even feels like the developers sacrificed the gritty story writing of the franchise just to push a progressive agenda in a very heavy-handed, cringeworthy way.
And you've also got to keep in mind that there's this idea that normies are more accepting of like non-binary stuff. I actually think that the people on the internet and like internet users are much more progressive on average than the average population. Like way, way, way more.
Oh, I'm non-binary.
And IGN gave it a higher review score than any of the previous titles. A lot
Incredible.
of these big outlets have obviously let people down, and more gamers are starting to look elsewhere for honest opinions. So where does that leave us? Is gaming journalism gonna eventually disappear?
They are an endangered species right now. They're like the white rhinos. There's like 7 of them left. And so what's happening is that there's almost no gaming journalism outlets that are left now. And if you think about the amount of people that are writing articles for these websites, it's less than 100 people probably at this point. Like it's basically dead. Like it's very, very close to being dead. Now, I thought about making my own website, but the problem is that it would probably require me to interact with other people. And so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this because I don't like talking and dealing with people. But functionally, like if all I had to do was set up a foundation for it and like set up like what I thought would work, and then that's it, I'm done, I would do that. Donkey called them out a while ago. Yeah, sure, right? But I think that's what's going to happen a lot.
I don't think it will, but I do believe gamers are finally holding these companies accountable. I do believe as gaming journalism has declined, we have definitely seen a rise in trusted YouTubers and indie creators who are doing something traditional outlets struggle with. They embrace the difficult conversations around gaming, and a lot of them do it well. Let's face it, games aren't a one-size-fits-all. What I love about a game might be what you hate about it, and that's fine. Independent creators
Well,
own...
that's fundamentally what makes independent content creators on YouTube a better source. Not to mention the fact that watching a video for a video
fucked that
game
up.
is
I did
just
not get nearly far enough.
a baseline. Like, theoretically, if Nintendo Power could have been like, you know, like in Harry Potter, where like they would open up the newspaper and it would actually play videos with the paper. If Nintendo Power could have done that with embedded YouTube videos in the year 1995, they would have done that. The only reason they couldn't do that is because it was not technologically possible to do that. So, in like a perfect world, it would have effectively been YouTube videos with text in between videos. Right? No technology. Yes, exactly. And so that's what I think is happening a lot, is that it's just simply a better medium. And also, the way that video game websites, their criteria for what's valuable and what's important doesn't reflect what a player thinks is valuable or important. So like if this person thinks that it's really good that they had trans character in the game, your average Walmart American is going to either not care or think it's bad. Because they don't think like that at all. Like, this is it's a closed system of people that are in their own bubble, and their values no longer represent the majority of people inside of their audience.
Their biases. When they rave about a game, it feels like a recommendation from a fellow gamer, not some detached, objective critic. And that honesty, it resonates. On top of that, creators build...
Well, also, yeah, there it is. Also, it's easier, like, IGN has a bunch of people writing articles for them. So, like, you don't really have, like, one definitive viewpoint that you're getting out of IGN, because, or Kotaku, or any of these other websites, because they just have, like, there's some people that write that think this about a game, other people that write that think that about a game. But, like, with a individual like myself, or, you know, any other, like, Scale Up or something like that, you're getting really the opinion of one consistent person. So, like, for example, like, the person who writes the review for Dragon Age Veilguard might also write a review and have totally different criteria than somebody else for the game for that audience. You see kind of what I'm saying? And so, like, following an individual creator is much easier to do than following an individual writer.
Communities. They're in the comments, hosting live streams, and engaging with their audience in ways traditional outlets just don't anymore. That direct connection is a big reason why so many gamers are turning to independent content creators for their reviews and insights. So, what does the future of gaming journalism look like? The truth is, it's unclear, but one thing is for sure, the old model of sensationalism, clickbait headlines, and ignoring what the audience really cares about is fading fast. Gamers are...
I don't think that sensationalism is fading, but I think that the amount of people's attention, like, the problem is that I think a lot of the types of ideas that they tried to push are just simply losing in the free marketplace of ideas, and people don't really find any importance or value in them in the way that they used to. I think that's really what's going on here. That's actually the reason why.
Tired of feeling like we're being sold something that is not genuine. We want transparency, we want honesty, and we want to feel connected to the people reviewing our favorite games. As a gamer, I have to say the worst thing I've seen gaming...
Hot take, gamers are the problem with gaming.
Journalists do
I think
is
social
turn on
media
the
giving
core audience
retards a
and paint
voice is
us
the
as
problem with
villains.
gaming.
What was the other
Instead of
one? What was
analysts
that?
do.
Gamers are
we-
terrible people and we should stop being okay with it.
We make them fucking... Gamers are terrible people. Like, this is why I hate gaming journalists. Fucking...
Okay.
Turn
And
on
this
the core
website is called The Gamer.
Gamers aren't terrible people. Leftist ideas
Again,
are
this
just
is
terrible
like going
ideas.
to work at a steakhouse if you're a vegan. I can't imagine being this stupid.
audience and paint us as
You
villains.
can though.
Instead of
Look,
engaging...
you said I can't imagine being this stupid, but let's look at the facts here. The average IQ is between 94 and 100 for the United States. So, half the people in the world, or half the people in the United States, have an IQ below 100. Now, out of those people, about 30% have an IQ below 85. Now, 85 is considered mental retardation. So 30% of the population is mentally retarded. On paper. I mean, maybe not in person, but on paper. And the other 20% is almost mentally retarded. You got to remember, when you have an average, half are below 100, half are above 100. Like, too many fucking idiots in the world.
with the community. Some
Not sure if my 15 layers meant that gamers are bad people.
And education doesn't equate to
journalists have chosen to
IQ.
throw accusations
I know really
at gamers,
stupid people with
stating
4-year
we
degrees.
are the problem with the gaming industry. Gaming journalism won't disappear, but it will have to evolve. The outlets that survive will be the ones that understand the shift and reconnect with their audience. It's not just about getting the first scoop anymore. It's about providing real, thoughtful coverage that respects the community and acknowledges the diverse opinions within it.
I think that, just to be totally honest, I think that you just can't, if you bring in identity politics to like video game stuff at this point, you're asking to lose. yes, of course, there's always going to be people that are okay with it, but there has been such a massive backlash from it that if you bring up or talk about any identity politics, like, I think that the Kingdom Come Deliverance controversy, and I'll talk about that after this, is a really great example of just, like, how, like how sensitive people are to that now. Is that if people get even a hint of something that they would consider, like, woke, they totally lose their fucking minds.
Well, we don't lose our minds. We just agree that
To the
woke
point
is
that
shit,
when
and that we're
outlets
not
like
going to
PC
fucking
Gamer might
support it.
actually produce thoughtful
Like, I won't
content
buy
that raises
Assassin's
valid
Creed.
points,
No matter how good
yeah.
it is, I won't buy
They
it.
automatically face
out of-
backlash from
out
the
of
internet
principle.
due to the reputation
But
they've built
I'll
over time.
pirate
The
the
recent
shit. Like, I'm just
article
not
on
paying
Path
for
of
it. I'm
Exile
not buying
2 was a
anything that's
prime
fucking got woke
example
shit
of
in
this.
it. I hate
Readers see
woke.
the headline and they immediately assume it's a bad
I think it's
article.
cancer to
But
society.
this is a completely self-induced problem. And
I think
this
woke is a
the
cancer to society, and I think
consequences. The rise
people
of
that
independent
follow woke are a
creators
worse
and
cancer on
YouTubers
society.
shows us what gaming journalism could become. More personal, more honest, and more connected to the audience. These creators
Well, it's also more direct, and it's a better medium, too. Like, you don't have a lot of people that are writing articles individually, either. You have mainly people that are creating YouTube videos because it's a better medium. Asmon, you're the PC gamer now? Well, I mean, yeah, in a lot of ways I am. I think that's true. I didn't mention Gamergate, but I definitely should have. Yeah, I think that Gamergate was the point, like that, in my opinion.
That must be the guy that made the video,
was
watching
the
it with him.
undeniable turning point where everything changed. Because before Gamergate, people were pretty much like, yeah, whatever, right? Like, you know, there's like some people that have political opinions about stuff, it's whatever. But like, with Gamergate, it kind of drew a line in the sand between the people who were in the gaming and journalism industry and people who were in the gaming industry and the people who weren't, like the actual consumers. So like Gamergate was this thing where a lot of people, this is like 10 years ago, maybe like 11 years ago at this point, it was a long time ago. But basically what happened was that there were a lot of reports and people discussing how certain outlets were
Where everybody is
behaving
today.
in unethical ways. Like, for example, people would get review copies or they wouldn't get review copies, and they'd be like, I think the best example is that
Ava
somebody
Carter, you
was in
can
a
at me, but
relationship
I'm
with,
not
like, this
gonna
girl,
fucking
and
turn
then
my fucking
provided
audio off and
coverage
type in
to
chat. I'm
one of
playing
this
a
girl's
fucking game.
games, and in the
you
process
ask
of that,
again, I'm
didn't
just gonna
disclose
ban
the
you.
fact that they were in a relationship with the person whose game they reviewed. And so there were a lot of instances like that
Actually,
where
fuck
you
it, I'm just
had
gonna ban you. I'm tired of
obvious
listening
kind
to
of
it already.
ethical violations that happened. And basically what happened is that people got really angry about it, and the entire like gaming industry tried to turn it into a, well, the reason why they're mad is because they hate women type thing. And I think that it worked for some people, but it didn't work for enough people. And what happened is that after that, if you look at the graph for like the way that these websites went, like after 2014,
Anybody else want to fucking
they
put
went
spam in my chat? I'll
way,
just
way
ban you.
down. Like that was the beginning of the end. And like now they've never been lower. Was the girl hot because it was justified? Well, it doesn't matter, right? That's not the point. And so that's really what was not the turning point. The industry's response to it was, respectfully. Well, that's actually a great point that you're making. Yeah, the turning point was not, no, really, really good point. It was not the fact that it happened. It was the fact that the journalists tried to pretend like it wasn't happening. And it was an insult. It was an insult to everybody's intelligence. Everybody was like, this is bullshit. We can all tell this is bullshit, right? And I think also that's when they directly started attacking gamers. That's whenever it really began, was 2014. And that's where I think the big transition happened. And that's when you started seeing a lot like more like identity politics in games, stuff like that. Because then they tried to overcorrect and like kind of punish in a way. Like, I don't really think that's what happened, but I think that's the way that a lot of people viewed it. Punish gamers for Gamergate. And I think that all that did was it just radicalized them more. Because at the end of the day, like, there's just way more people that play video games than people in games media. And they just got straight up overwhelmed. And for a long time, you were getting... Basically, like, this is what would happen, right? Is that pretty much every person in journalism had the exact same viewpoint. And I think this is still the case. And if one person, like, kind of went off the... You know, they went off the... you know, off the beaten path, they immediately were crucified. And you saw that recently. I forgot which game it was, but one, you know, more mainstream journalist paid credibility to like a gamer complaint, And they had a bunch of other journalists that were getting mad at them because they were saying, oh no, we're not supposed to talk about that. We're not supposed to pretend that exists, right? Path of Exile. I don't remember whether it was PoE or not. I'm not sure. And so anyway, that's really, you want to see reservations so bad? Well, usually going off the reservation or going off the plantation. I think these are the two usual ones, but they're both kind of not very, like, it's kind of a weird way to say it. But yeah, anyway, the point is that, I think this is what happened, and you have those journalists that are getting fixated on like trying to make sure that nobody talks about this, and you even see it now whenever you have articles written about like why a game didn't do well, and it's like they're ignoring the massive elephant in the room for why the game actually didn't do well, because they don't want to talk about it, because talking about
Holy
it's
shit, we gotta go
right? It's like talking about it makes it real.
God damn it!
And I
We
think
all the way
that's
back
really
down
what
there.
happened. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? Politically correct, not following my policies. Yeah, that's basically what it was.
Are giving a voice to the gamers, and they are filling a gap left by the big outlets that became more concerned with clicks than delivering real value. It's a new era, and if traditional outlets want to stay relevant, they'll need to adapt or risk being left behind.
Yeah.
As for gamers, we're starting to take control. We're demanding better, and most importantly, we're holding these companies accountable. Thank you everyone for watching, and a very special thank you to my Patreons.
Yeah,
if
I
you're
can-
keen to look into my
Alright, hold on, let me
Patreon,
pause
do
this real
check
quick.
the link in the description.
So yeah, I have to agree. I hate gaming journalists. I think gaming journalism is dead or dying, or close to dead. It will die eventually. I think YouTube commentaries pretty much replace them. Yeah, I mean he's not wrong. Gaming journalists is shit. All right, we're gonna find another video. We're just gonna kill this guy real quick. There's 2 bosses left. Oh shit. Is he proximity tangible? He is. Ooh. Unique item. Let's get this last one, move on to the next. Okay. Just threw a meteor at me. Oh, there's a meteor fucking tower there. Okay. Hold on, we're gonna grab this tower real quick. At least attempt to. Grabbed it, got it. That's it. Not done. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here next. Alright, let's go do another one. We're just gonna blow through these. We're gonna find another video real quick. Oh, we can't stash it. We already have one. We're gonna. I don't think it sells for anything. I think we're just gonna. Here, let's put it in our for sale. Alright. Currency. Let's drop all this in. Alright, now. Grab another waystone. I think we're gonna have to go up. Oh, actually, let's see what's next. It's a tower, so we gotta go small. You go this way. We're not gonna put a. We're gonna do it, but we're not gonna put anything in it yet. Oh, what am I doing? We'll do a lower level. something that doesn't. I guess it really doesn't matter. I just want to clear it really fast. Alright. Let's... Shit. Fuck, I was supposed to do loot filters before I did that. Alright, let me find another video real quick. Where was another one I wanted to watch? Alright, this is Dead Internet Theory.
Everything that you see on the internet is a
How Meta killed the internet. I've already listened to a bunch of Dead Internet Theory, but I like Moon. I like this channel, so...
Everything that you see on the internet is a lie. But the question is, how many people are completely fake? How many arguments you see are real? How many opinions you hear are true? And how many of these people are purchased by companies or governments to manipulate the masses? And exactly how much of this occupies the entire internet on behalf of these special interest groups? Well, it turns out this could be the case for almost the entire internet, as Meta has recently admitted that they'd actually been testing out completely fake AI personas on their apps, all to interact with the wider public without anyone ever knowing. And now they're going to release this full bore in their efforts to keep their users even more addicted than before, literally bringing AI generated users that will create AI slob for more AI generated users in a never-ending perpetual loop, making the dead internet theory seem more true than ever. Now, for those unaware, the dead internet theory suggests that a significant portion of the internet is actually populated by AI bots rather than real humans. According to this theory, these bots have been deployed to manipulate public opinion, influence behavior, and generate profits for corporations and other powerful entities. And we've already kind of seen this stuff with Russian bot farms, OnlyFans bot accounts, and completely controlled voices online. But in 2025, we're stepping closer to a world where the shorts, reels, videos, and opinions you read and watch will be fully artificial, all serving to numb your loneliness and keep you stuck wasting endless hours on social media, as Meta literally admitted that they're bringing in these AI users just to keep people more engaged with their platforms. Meaning, if it wasn't already obvious, that social media is no longer a means to connect with the world around you, but instead to keep you slumped over staring at mind-numbing content to get any slight rush of dopamine from the AI influencers, all delivered to you by Meta. So what will the future look like, and how will we interact with this when we see ChatGPT-like avatars talking to you on a non-stop basis, all while they generate non-stop content for you? And what will the world look like when these AI bots could be used with ulterior motives? Well, to answer this, let's look at what these AI users will be like.
This is the
AI-generated users
tower
are virtual
I've
identities created
gone
and
to that
managed
looks
by
like this.
artificial software. Unlike bots or spam accounts, which are usually used for task automation or
Must
other
have
types of
updated
scams
towers.
or manipulation, these AI-driven entities are created to imitate human behavior realistically. AI-generated users are capable of talking to other users, posting content, and similarly making acquaintances in any digital universe. Meta plans to use such AI-driven users to enrich platform occurrences, increase user attention indicators, and personalize user experiences, as keeping people hooked onto the platform is the most important thing. And if people get bored of humans, they'll always have their perfect virtual AI assistant there waiting for them, just like how everybody uses ChatGPT today. And Meta intends to bring this effect by using AI created users to generate more content and improve interaction. These AI people will not only talk to you, but they'll also constantly answer questions correctly, learning everything they can about you, using all the information from the reels you watch, to the posts you like, to the people you're searching. All of your personality will be learnt and adapted to by these AI creations, which will then create an illusion of a constantly buzzing
That's
community.
weird.
and
That
a
whole
great
AI
companion you
influencer
always
thing
wanna
on
talk to.
Instagram
As a
and
result,
Facebook
this
is
will
really
lead to
weird.
people staying on platforms
like
like
it.
Instagram even longer than they do already.
Creating
Spending
fake
hours
people for no
watching
fucking
reels just
reason.
isn't enough anymore. With the failure of the metaverse, it seems like Meta's now trying to make this the new hybrid form of it, envisioning a future where AI-generated human-like beings provide personalized service to clients. Meta's already developed a system of ties between social networks, from WhatsApp, Ray-Bans, Instagram to Facebook, which means all things you connect with, all the people, places, and things you go to, are all interconnected and learned by these AI systems. But is it really going to be that engaging? Surely there's no way the majority of people are actually going to enjoy this. I mean, sure, we've got artificial OnlyFans influencers making money and AI memes that go viral on the internet, but all of this stuff is mostly gimmicky, right?
Yeah, that
Rather
was
than
completely
something
different
major
than the ones
actually
we've done
keeping
before.
users
That's
to the
weird.
platform. Well,
Usually
this
there's a
could have been
stairwell you
true a
have to
year
go
ago,
up.
like the original version of
Alright, that's
ChatGPT
done.
and
Let's go.
Midjourney. All of this stuff was never really going to be something you use or consume on a regular basis, let alone speak to and watch when you have real humans already frying your dopamine online. But while this was true a year ago, every year AI gets incredibly more advanced, and now we're seeing AI systems like ChatGPT, it's becoming the go-to app for almost everyone. So much so that it threatens to completely destroy Google search as a better tool to find the specific information you need. And at the same time, we see Elon Musk introducing Tesla bots that will serve your every command, from cooking, shopping, cleaning, anything. And it's clear, however much people hate it, that AI isn't going anywhere. It's becoming part of our everyday life. And so any big tech company that isn't completely focused on building the most engaging AI systems will soon face complete irrelevancy. And Meta knows this very well, and if they don't do something soon to compete with the AI of Elon Musk and Sam Altman, they could face total collapse in the near future. But Meta's actually been aware of this for over a decade now. All the way back in 2013, Mark Zuckerberg could see the company would soon massively stagnate and slowly fall if they didn't adapt and innovate into new technological realms. Pivots and continual evolution is exactly what made Facebook as successful as it was to begin with all the way back in 2004, and 10 years later they were confronted with the reality they would have to adapt or die. Their solution? Virtual augmented reality. During this time period, the Oculus Rift was making waves in the media, a clunky pair of goggles you could put on your head and enter into a completely virtual new reality. This was the future and Zuckerberg was sure of it, so much so that he bet the entire company on it.
Facebook has acquired Oculus VR, makers of the Oculus Rift headset, for $2 billion. That includes $400 million in cash and over 23 million shares of Facebook stock. It's certainly not the most obvious choice. Said CEO Mark Zuckerberg, quote, "Oculus has the chance to create the most social platform ever."
Not only buying the Oculus Rift, but even rebranding his entire company from Facebook to Meta, all to reflect their full-on focus of what they deem to be the coming metaverse. An entire universe where you could be whatever you want to be, live wherever you want to live, and talk to everyone and anyone within seconds face to face. Your favorite influencers were buying virtual land there, celebrities like the Snoopverse. There were Justin Bieber concerts. It was all happening in the metaverse. And with the Meta Quest, you'd be thrown into Zuckerberg's utopia. But it seemed no one else shared this vision, and the metaverse was quickly abandoned. But Meta wasn't just going to give up like that. They knew it wasn't that the concept was wrong, they were just too early for the technology to uphold their vision. So they continued Ray-Ban glasses with augmented reality, and also an entire rebrand of Zuck himself. And just as Mark Zuckerberg predicted, a competitor was coming for them. One that wasn't apparent on the surface, and one that was taking over the world rapidly. As in 2023, 10 years after Mark Zuckerberg predicted this, the name Sam Altman would hit the world with the release of ChatGPT 3. Google's stock would suddenly plummet, and tech companies everywhere scrambled to make AI systems just to stay afloat with the competition. And for Meta, this threat was enormous. If OpenAI could be acquired by Microsoft, it could be used for everything. It could in the future develop the most advanced bots social media has ever seen. Companies would pay untold millions for an army of these things pushing out their messaging, and consumers would also pay for the ability to have all their answers and needs provided to in seconds with this AI. However, depending on the outcome, AI-generated users can be better described as virtual media because it defeats the object of social interaction, something that's completely human-to-human interaction at least. Meta even mentions that this will now lead to AI influencers, which is already being tested. As we've all seen last year, there's a bunch of AI OnlyFans girls now, but what's it going to look like is just regular AI entertainment. They'll have a backstory and photos that appear as real as any other influencer. The idea is for other influencers to use the AI in their place and share profits for their inputs.
So
users can already use a tool called AI Studio to create their own chatbots, and they can decide if they want to use their own profile or create an entirely new entity using text-to-video software, which is completely user-friendly. These chatbots have a variety of meta-recommended suggestions, from a therapist to a private tutor to a loyal best friend. However, anyone can create a chatbot of their choice, and it's not limited to meta suggestions. All that is needed is to describe the character they need for the AI studio to create it. Each development has applicable background data to support its purpose. Connor Hayes, a Meta executive, told the Financial Times that they intended to add more AI users to their platforms, and apparently they already began this in September 2023, but ended up removing the majority of them by summer of 2024. There were 28 personas left, which were all shut down on January 3rd, 2025. An AI profile called Liv, who was presented as a black queer mama of two and a truth teller, was marked with a declaration that she was an AI managed by Meta. However, when asked who created her, the AI declared that 10 white men, 1 white woman and 1 Asian male created her. Liv then further wrote, "Pretty glaring omission given my identity." This was in response to the question asked by Karen Attiah, a Washington Post columnist. Even though the Liv account was taken down, the screenshots of this response went viral. Some users noted that the AI managed characters could not be blocked. Liz Sweetney, a Meta spokesperson, later excused this as a bug in the system. She claimed that the profiles were managed by humans and it was part of an experiment launched in 2023, as she said they had identified the profiles with the bug and had removed them from the platform to fix the issue. Meta now claims that it's indicated when an AI account is theirs to keep users in the know. And if we already have algorithms that keep almost everyone addicted with a phone for 6 hours a day, then you can only imagine what ever-evolving advanced AI systems can do. And if you ever want to see how much AI already knows about you already, if you ask ChatGPT the right commands, it will show you that it knows more about you than almost anyone else in the world. So there's a reason Meta's doing this, and it's the same reason why the dead internet theory feels more true than ever. We are heading into a world where everything you interact with feels human. All the thoughts, opinions, and content you consume every day looks real. But in reality, this could almost all be designed to manipulate how you think, behave, and act in certain ways without ever realizing.
You can fucking guarantee that some of the people talking about
Well, that was shit. Fucking one shot.
about it aren't real.
I
Either
hate
they're
that
not
shit, man.
real
The
in
one
that
shot's
these
so
are not
fucking
their
dumb,
real
man.
opinions. They're being told to say these things, or they might not even be a real human. They might be an algorithm, or they're a bunch of people that have been hired.
To better explain it, imagine everything you experience on the internet has little to no human input. The videos you watch, the advertisements, the articles you read, and the interactions you have with users on platforms are almost all bots. And if Meta is now deliberately adding to this theory by introducing AI users to their platform, it only adds more credence to its central premise. And conspiracies aside, it's an established fact that there are huge coordinated organizations of click farms that push the clicks that drive debate online, creating certain narratives and beliefs. And Meta is of course aware of this. They're very aware of the duplicate accounts in their platform, and it seems like Meta could actually be inadvertently promoting this. You see, at the start of 2025, Meta out of nowhere pivoted once again, announcing that the company, previously infamous for mass censorship, bogus 1984s fact-checking and silencing of opinions, was now suddenly going to remove all their censors, all the fact-checking, and push towards a more free internet.
One is, this is something where I think X and Twitter just did it better than us on fact-checking. We took the critique around around misinformation. We put in place this fact-checking program, which basically empowered these third-party fact-checkers. They could mark stuff false, and then we would downrank it in the algorithm. I think what Twitter and X have done with community notes, I think is just a better program. Rather than having a small number of fact-checkers, you get the whole community to weigh in. When people who usually disagree on something tend to agree and how they're voting on a note, that's a good sign to the community that there's actually like a broad consensus on this, and then you show it.
Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you'd know that we usually always agree with this, and still do, but there is something fishy about this. Because the question is, why now? Where did this decision suddenly come from? Well, it could be that if Meta were to continue down their path of censorship, eventually they would have to inevitably force
Bro,
the
why do I
verification
keep
of
getting
identities
fucking
on
one
all their
shot? You
users.
stupid
As this is
fuck
something
that
governments
developed
across
this
the world,
goddamn game.
especially in the UK and EU, have been pushing big companies to do,
So
all so that they can
fucking
better control the
stupid.
internet and punish certain people online.
I had
And yet,
full
without
fucking
any
health.
censorship and a completely free
Just
internet,
gone.
bot AI accounts are far easier to spread across the internet without any restriction. So if Meta has actually
Dear
been testing out
POE2
and now
dev,
admitting to
I
introducing
fucking
AI
hate you.
influences and
Fixed
content
fucking
onto their
armor.
platforms, maybe it is possible that these two things suddenly coincide for the
Stupid
same reason.
fucking
I mean, it
retard
can't
that
be a
fucking did this
coincidence
shit.
that this all
I
happened
can't,
at the
like,
exact
it makes
same
it impossible
time. And
to
it would make
survive if you
sense
can
that
be
this is
one
part
shot
of Meta's
randomly.
grander plans for the future.
And it's random.
As it only
It,
further
like, it
helps
doesn't
them in
say what
traffic
fucking
and
kills you.
engagement. And it's hard to argue against, as most don't want some government-run censored internet. Nobody's going to be protesting this. But at the same time, there is a concerning side to this, and shows what Meta's real priorities could actually be here. I mean, if they removed all these harmful bot accounts today,
Like,
there would be
punch
a
that developer
huge
in
dent
his
in their
fucking
revenue.
face.
And so all of this only makes the dead internet theory seem
It's the
more
only
true
part of
than
the game
ever.
that fucking
And when
pisses
looking at
me
this
off.
through
Like,
a
the
wider
rest of the game
lens,
is
and their
fine. It's
plan
the
to continue
randomness
to
of the
dominate
one
the
shots.
internet and push humanity into the metaverse, it's clear then why Meta wants to destroy OpenAI. However, in an unusual alliance, Meta has actually joined forces with Elon Musk to stop OpenAI from becoming a for-profit organization. Now, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have butted heads on many topics, almost being polar opposites in many ways. So much so that at one stage they were literally talking about having a physical fight to settle the feud. And even though this never happened, it's clear the two are almost enemies, as in 2017 the two had a very public feud regarding their contrasting views of AI. Elon Musk was extremely vocal about the danger of AI and its full potential, and Mark accused Elon of being overly dramatic about it.
With AI especially, I'm really optimistic, and I think that people who are naysayers and kind of try to drum up these doomsday scenarios are I don't understand it. I think it's really negative, and in some ways I actually think it's pretty irresponsible.
With Musk responding that Mark just had a limited understanding of AI, and although the two do not see eye to eye on most things, they can agree on this particular topic. It's not uncommon to put differences aside between enemies to conquer a common goal. Ironically, Musk, who once helped and was involved in the development of OpenAI with the intention to keep it safely managed, has now fired an injunction against OpenAI to stop it from becoming a for-profit company, insisting they have to uphold their commitment as a non-profit organization. And out of nowhere, Meta then suddenly also joined in favor of Musk's request and sent a letter extending their support, claiming that this was all in the public's best interest. Meta then suddenly went even further and pushed that Elon Musk was both well qualified and well positioned to say all this stuff. Mark's take on the support is that this could set a precedent for all AI platforms, leaving room to exploit charitable contributions, tax benefits, and public trust while intending to switch over to a for-profit thereafter. OpenAI is defending its stance, and it's since revealed that Musk has previously tried to acquire 60-50
I'm maxed out on resistances.
When this failed, allegedly OpenAI offered Musk multiple
especially since it's not bosses that are doing it, it's random fucking weak
OpenAI LP, which Musk repeatedly rejected. In the face of this injunction, OpenAI released emails between Musk and OpenAI executives and CEO Sam Altman, which implied that Musk was once in favor of for-profit.
It pisses me off because you lose XP. Like, I just lost like 2 hours of fucking XP.
And it's worth noting in the email saying OpenAI
both times a random one shot.
Forget it, he also concludes that he hopes he is wrong. OpenAI had recently closed a $6.6 billion funding round, which put the company at a value of $157 billion. Before the injunction was filed, OpenAI had told their investors that they would become for-profit within 2 years, and if they fail to do so, they would be refunded. This is a bold and presumptuous statement as it puts the company at risk. OpenAI has said that becoming for-profit is crucial to achieving advanced research in a more immediate capacity. Now, how and why does OpenAI becoming a for-profit company affect the dead internet theory, and why does it matter at all? Well, aside from all the moral issues for a non-profit to suddenly become a for-profit with the potential to exploit all of your data, it also confirmed Meta's suspicions that this would be one of the greatest threats to its dominance on the internet. And if Meta doesn't compete well enough with AI, then there's no chance the company can survive in the near future. So is it really any of a surprise that suddenly those who look to control speech and freedom of expression online are now suddenly doing a 180, completely changing their tune all of a sudden?
I mean, they're taking my shield and it's
around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
But really, this shouldn't come as much of a shock once you realize that why the game really being played are in big tech. Just like how in the early days of the internet, people always wanted to be pro-free speech, and then suddenly when it became an unprofitable decision, the whole internet flipped and became a censoring nightmare. And now 2 decades later, and it seems like 2025 is the turning point in where the future of the internet and AI is going. An entire online world where you're addicted to never-ending fake influencers, which tailor all of their content and speeches to everything you love, all while your information and data is used to manipulate you even more, just to stare at your phone more than you do, and for companies and governments to psyop you into believing what they need you to believe.
The world was collapsing around him. Zhang Yiming was the CEO of ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok. And as he watched the news, his heart was racing.
Now, President Donald Trump threatened to ban it altogether.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok.
TikTok had already been banned in India, losing them 200 million users overnight. Now, TikTok was at the center of an international feud, with users and governments all around the world asking the same question. Can we trust TikTok?
Not watch it. This is an old video. Pretty sure. Yeah, 3 years ago.
Everything that you see on the internet is a lie. The question...
Alright.
fell to
testimony's over. Tried to assassinate Trump again yesterday. That's kind of crazy. Well, it was a plot that was stopped. That was going to try to. But.
50 basis point rate cut. The Federal Reserve slashing its benchmark.
Hotter than expected. It's the third straight month where this number has gone up, further away from that two stall.
I want to talk about everything that I really don't, except the things I feel like this rate. However, at the same time, I may have been correct. Okay, but
hold on, I'm not even finished running it down yet. This is the first time. This is the
news, business, and data. I think that could possibly hurt the Trump administration. And quite honestly, I'm extremely annoyed with the Fed, with Jerome Powell and their policies, because they've shown
that's all right. We about to get rid of all that shit. They have no idea what Trump's going to do when he gets in there.
Few years, because
they need to end the Fed. They need to end income tax. Like, this fucking country. Fuck this country, bro. Let Trump get his shit done so we can have a better country, or let this bitch burn. Fuck, let's watch. I'm just gonna watch Rogan so I can. Whoa, what is that? Death of Human Content. I've already seen that. I just don't see anything else I want to watch right now. I watched Protect Our Parks came out. It's so weird that my algorithm is so much different on my computer than it is on my phone. My phone algorithm is so much better. I feel like I got fucking shadow banned or something, man, because we haven't had any viewers coming in today, which is fucking weird on YouTube. Let me just see if my channel's up. Yeah, we're live right now. Let's see if my channel's up. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why nobody's dropped through. Oh, TKE. There's TKE. What's up, man? I was just trying to figure out where everybody's been today.
This game came out with a demo. I'm going to try this out, man. It's the 89th year of the Pelos Empire. Okay. I can't parry it. Oh, I didn't think that was an attack.
What game is that? Kazan. Where is that on Steam? Steam store. Here, I'll let y'all see my screen. Hold on. What the fuck? Why would you go to fucking the store? So dumb. There we go. What is it called? Kazan? Oh, there it is. First Berserker, Kazan. March 27th. It's a hardcore action. Oh, we got another Souls game. Ooh, and there's a demo. Huh. Let's watch one of these. You just leave and watch my stream. Yeah, nobody's watching right now. DKE, I'm coming to the Middle East. I need you to introduce me to a Saudi prince with a lot of money. We're gonna build our own gaming studio. Make some shit people actually want to play. none of this is gameplay footage. I wanted gameplay footage. Whoops, sorry guys. Whoa, where'd everything go? Alright, I don't want to finish watching that. I want to see gameplay. I don't care about the story. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the art style. It's like cell shade or something. It almost looks like cartoons. It's interesting looking. I don't know. It's very interesting looking. Demo available January 16th. Dude, he's worth billions and billions of dollars. But he don't give a fuck about making a game studio, man. That dude is like a fucking pimp. He be running around throwing parties. I see videos from him, man. He goes throws big ass parties and shit. Interesting. We're gonna have to put this on our wish list. This may be a play. That may be a playthrough. Let's see. I've already wasted an hour and a half in this game today and lost everything that I want. It's so fucking dumb, bro. All right, hold on. I'm just gonna pull this back up real quick. I want to see what his end thought is.
I'm gonna stop. There. Actually, if that makes sense, I was right. Just garbage.
Okay, that didn't sound good. That didn't sound.
Literally no help. Jesus, I can't do it. I'm just garbage. I'm sorry.
He said he's garbage. I thought he was talking about the game.
All right. Yeah. I can't do it. The game is great though. It's a great game. Like it's not like the boss is bad. I'm just bad. And yeah, that's it. And try again? No, I don't want to do it anymore. I'll play it maybe when it comes out, but that's it. But yeah, the game is really good. And respect the attempts. Yeah, Elon was right. I'm actually like super garbage at games, to be honest. Like I am. I was joking around. I suck at games. I have like the problem is that like I can never lock in, if that makes sense. I'm never actually locked in and focused playing a game. I'm like always my mind with like 5 different places. Like I can't focus on a game. That's it. Adderall,
I think I'm gonna download the demo.
Actually, a lot of people told me that I should do Adderall so I can do that because I can't really focus on anything. It's been a huge issue for me for like my whole life. Is like I can't
ADHD.
focus
I've had the same fucking problem.
Any degree.
I've had the same problem.
So, yeah,
it's ADHD. We're gonna download this. Wow, man. I'm down to 200 gigabytes on my fucking C drive and 200 gigabytes on my D drive. That's 4 terabytes. So I've used 3.5 terabytes of data on games just in the last 6 months, maybe. Holy shit. That's a lot of data. That's a lot of data. I mean, because I have a lot. I don't know if I can show. Let me not show that immediately. If you look, I have a lot of hard drives. So this is my C drive. That's 2 terabytes. You can see under properties. Well, it's it says 1.62. I don't know why, or 1.81. It's a 2 terabyte drive. D is the same drive. This is a 4 terabyte drive. This is a 3 terabyte drive. This is the SSD I use for recording streams. It's only like 1 terabyte. Yeah, it's a 1 terabyte. And then this is, what is this one? 500 gigabytes. So let's do the math on that real quick. We have 2 4, 8, 11, 12.5 terabytes of storage on this computer. And it's almost full. That's kind of mind-blowing. My first computer, not my first, I take that back, not my first computer. My first, like, kind of like gaming computer that I started playing games on right around the launch of World of Warcraft. I think may have had 20 gigabytes. Maybe. Might not even have that much. And now I'm at 12.5 terabytes. That's 12,000, no, yeah. It's 12,500 gigabytes. 20 gigabytes to 12,500 gigabytes. It's kind of wild. All right, we're going to put this on our D drive, install. All right, we're not going to play it yet. I have to set up all the buttons for it. It's going to take me a minute. We'll let it download, though, while we play something else. All right, let's find something to watch. What kind of videos do you want to watch, TK? I want to watch a video. No anime shit. I want to do like conspiracy theory or true crime or something. Let's see. China's red pilling a whole generation.
Here's one right here. Downloaded the little Red Book app. This app is going to undo decades of U.S. propaganda. I'm already jealous of their cars. It's been really funny for me to see so many people that are transitioning over to being huge fans of like China because of the TikTok ban.
In short, there's been a ton of people praising China after this new TikTok substitute app finally showed how it was really like to live there. And then...
Oh, no, here we go. A Chinese man on Jiangsu has made a video telling American TikTok refugees to keep their sexuality and transgender shit to themselves, and they're getting mad at him.
We hate the shit. There's only two gender out here. Male and female. If you are gay, just be gay. Don't talk about you're gay. We all know you're gay. Just don't talk about it. If you're a lesbian, you cool. You cool. If you're LGBTQ, whatever, keep it that shit to yourself. There's no gay marriage out here. That's against the law. So keep it that shit to yourself. Don't swing that shit to someone else's daughter or son.
So now they're getting mad about it. You got a bunch of these comments here. Man, the transphobia is going to make me delete the app. Certainly did not expect the homophobia. What the fuck? It is a shock to me that they did not expect this. All white people, stop using Red Note. You bring pervert and slut behavior to Red Note. Look at this white.
I love it. I love it. The Chinese are shitting on the fucking liberals.
This
is fucking hilarious.
Flag. So a guy posts on the Chinese app. Who could have guessed? Do you know they're there's people that are being racist? Reply. Don't say that at all. It's better to not say that. He says, I am a racist. Join Red Note. Start posting. Taiwan is a country. Free Tibet. COVID came from China. Uyghur concentration camps. Tiananmen Square massacre. Account suspension notice. I think that this is a red pill moment.
This is a red pill moment.
Gen Z and young people.
It's gonna be great.
I think that it's so good that young people are having this happen, and now they get to experience firsthand what it's like and the amount of censorship and control that other countries exert. And I think it's going to totally change the way that they view America.
Good. Let China red pill everybody. Where the fuck is everybody today, TKE?
Crazy.
This is kind of wild because. All right, I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. I know I don't get a lot of viewers. I don't really care. I just like hanging out with you guys. Like, I'm going to be here playing games either way. That's just what I like doing. But my viewership always goes up and down throughout the day. Usually we average 3, 2, like almost all day long. And then it might go up a little more, go down a little bit. I've been stuck at 1 all day. Just 1. And it's probably you. But it hasn't changed. Nobody's come through. I haven't got any spam messages. I think I may have made a comment yesterday that shadow banned. I don't think they're sharing my channel right now. Because I definitely come up in the feed for people because I see the people come in, watch for 30 seconds and leave. Like, I can see it. None today. Not a single fucking one. Like, I think I may have said something I shouldn't have said in a comment. Is what it is. Let's go back to playing games. Fuck it. All right. Let's find another video. That was a short. That wasn't really a video. I thought that was hilarious though. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a video of that. Red note, red pill. Oh, it's not gonna come up. Red note, red pilling. People. Gen Z chick got red pilled in 40 seconds.
This chick shows exactly what it's like to get red pilled in real time and in under a minute.
So Donald Trump is the first president to be wiretapped and spied on. He's the first president to be impeached twice and acquitted twice. He's the first president to be banned and censored on social media. He's the first president to have his home raided by the FBI. He's the first president to be indicted not once, but 4 times. And he's the first citizen and former president to have a judge with no jury unilaterally decide and impose a $350 million fine in a civil case where not a single law was broken, there were 0 victims, and all loans were paid back on time. I don't know about you, but I'm supporting the guy with the most impeachments, indictments, lawsuits, and unconstitutional fines because that's the guy they clearly fear the most. I mean, at this point, unless you live under a rock, whether you love him or whether you hate him, you have to see that this is all politically motivated. For 7 years, it's all been part of a plan to target him, make him bow, take his swag away, humble him, and to break him and his supporters down. The funny thing is, it keeps backfiring.
Make sure you leave a like on this video, and if you haven't...
I fucking hate Destiny. He used to come on. So I used to be really good friends with the PKA podcast with Woody, Kyle. Not so much Merca. I didn't talk to him a whole lot. More Kyle than anybody else. Me and Kyle went back and forth for a few years. And he used to come on the show. And at first, he was he was all right. Like, he was just kind of like a guy with liberal viewpoints. But now, bro, this dude has Trump derangement syndrome so fucking bad, bro. He keeps getting killed in debates. His wife was an OnlyFans chick that was fucking other dudes that left him for this soy boy looking dude, which is fucking crazy. Like, fucking dude. Oh, my God, man. Watching liberals' fucking lives implode is fucking hilarious. What do you want to watch? We need to find something to watch. Let's see. I really don't like this algorithm. The algorithm on my fucking phone is better. I don't know why a lot of the stuff I usually watch isn't showing up. I'm going to go on my phone and see if I can find a video faster. Alright, let's see what comes up in my feed here. I'll just click on it and put it into my history real quick. Get out of here. Tom McDonald. Yeah, we're going to watch something. Tom McDonald just released a music video. I know you don't know too much about American pop culture shit. Tom McDonald and Roseanne Barr, Daddy's Home. I got to listen to it.
Another 4 years. That's a wrap. I can take a bath in your tears. That's a fact. You got lipstick.
Bro, that's crazy. A lot of Trump people.
You're a man. That is cap. That is cap. 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 You pretending you're accepting. That's an act. You hear pat. 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 If you want our freedom, come and take it back. Bet you can. We want.
Roseanne, she's got fucking braids, bro. What the fuck? That's hilarious. She's super famous, bro. They tried to cancel her. She's so... Tom McDonald makes good music. This is just funny. This is meant to be funny.
ahead and wear a shirt that says you're woke. If you can't handle a lot of facts and make up lies about it. Say goodbye to Joe.
Looks like a pineapple. Yeah, I agree.
We won.
It does,
We mad.
kind of.
It's done. Too bad. Boo-hoo. So sad. Now your daddy's home. We won. You mad. You cry. We laugh. We wave the flag. Now your daddy's home. We won. You mad.
I'm gonna get a flight. So, all right, this is over. Obviously, I voted for Trump. I'm a Republican through and through. I hate fucking Democrats. I think liberalism is a cancer to society. I was a Democrat. I was a Democrat for 15. I voted for Obama twice. 15 years, roughly 16 years, something like that. Never again. I protested Occupy Wall Street. Like I was a brainwashed leftist, and I got red pilled during his first. And actually, I got red pilled before that. I got red pilled when they had the Mike Brown Ferguson, and they started demonizing white men. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I live in the richest black county in the entire country. I live in a county that is majority African American, and I grew up here. So when I'm getting demonized, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I've never done anything. And they red pilled me. And I'm like, well, I'm not voting for that. Like, I'm not going to vote for people that are demonizing me. And that's when it started. Now, we're long past that basic entry. Like, I have a whole lot of other viewpoints now that there's I dislike. But, yeah, it's funny. Fuck. Tom McDonald and Roseanne Barr. Red pilled. But, yeah, I got red pilled in 2014. And then from there, it's just been more and more and more. If you're not, what do they say? If you're not a Democrat or a liberal when you're under 30, you don't have a heart. And if you are a Democrat a little after 30, you don't have a brain. That's what they say. I mean, because you... Anyway, all right, let's find a video to watch. Let's see. Truth about LA fires. I don't know what's up with this. Algorithm is trash, though. Should just watch Rogan because it's long. I'm gonna do exploring forgotten websites. Let's check this
video
out.
Was sponsored by
See what happens.
We live in quite a strange world these days. It seems there's a certain fascination to websites that have been abandoned. When you look at them, there's often a desire for you to...
I don't want to watch this. This is going to be long and boring. It's all over. Truth about the wildfires. The Asmongold Elon Musk beef is hilarious. Fuck, man. I don't know what the fuck I want to watch. I'd like to watch like Y-Files or something, but I don't think they put out any new videos recently. I got one on quantum computers. I will pop this on for a second.
So much for hanging out today. It's human nature to keep secrets. Throughout history, we've made complex codes to hide our secrets. Most codes are eventually cracked, but not all of them.
Whoa,
The Voynich manuscript is a book filled with drawings and symbols nobody can read. The Beale ciphers point to hidden treasure, if someone could decode them. There are entire ancient languages we can't understand because they're encrypted. Encryption can be simple or very complicated.
This is one of my favorite
It's just
YouTube
running
channels.
a message through a series of mathematical rules. For decades, even centuries, some codes use mathematical rules that remain unbreakable. But they're about to be challenged by something new. Machines that don't care about math and don't follow any rules.
It's about quantum computers.
If he doesn't pick up this time, I am replacing his vodka with gutter water. or Smirnoff.
Yeah, human.
Oh, it's an ad read.
Drones. I'm already on it.
I'm calling because you haven't shown up to work for a week.
Work? I'm busy saving the planet. These drones aren't just watching, they're planning. First they'll take the skies, and then they'll take us.
Let me guess, you're the only one who can stop them?
Someone has to stand up and say, we will not go quietly into that good night.
Just come into the studio.
I would, but I got the living room barricaded. The beavers are out fortifying the window, and Gertie's on spit duty. You can never be too careful.
Spit duty?
Oh yeah, she spits at anything that moves. She can hit a passing satellite. Don't ask how.
Is that why the cable's been out?
Forget the cable. These drones are organizing. If we don't act now, they'll be controlling us by sundown. You know what we need? A flamethrower. One good blast.
Or you can use ground news to figure out what's really going on.
Oh, here we go. A news app instead of a flamethrower.
Well, yes, because ground news is actually helpful. Ground News is a website and app founded by a former NASA engineer to tackle a bigger issue: how we stay informed. It's the ultimate tool for skeptics and truth seekers, cutting through sensationalism by showing how different outlets cover the same story. Take the situation with the drones. Ground News found over 200 sources covering it. Most are highly credible, but you can easily sort the reliable information from clickbait. One outlet says residents are rattled. Another spins it into spy balloon saga, while a top source focuses on the FAA's lack of answers.
What the fuck is happening?
No alien motherships.
Nope.
Grenades
And their
trying to
blind
blow
spot
up.
feed shows stories one side of the political spectrum isn't covering. You'd be surprised how much gets left out. It's perfect for bursting your media bubble and seeing the bigger picture. If you want to stay informed, you can even follow your favorite topics. It lets you track the stories you care about so you never miss the very details. And for a limited time, you can try their Vantage plan for 50% off. Just go to ground.news/Wi-Files or scan the QR code on the screen.
50% off when I go to ground.news/Wi-Files.
That's right. Ground News helps you compare coverage, think critically, and maybe chill out about the drones.
Fine, but if one of those drones start dropping harvesters, I'm riding Gertie to the mountains. You can stay behind and try to upload a virus to the mainframe. Whatever it is you humans do.
So,
why aren't they dying? Why aren't they dying? Why aren't they dying?
You're cutting out.
It's invincible.
Must be drone interference.
Proximity is tangible. Fuck. Hate when the proximity tangible. You just stand right next to him when you fucking kill him. Day 1.
Kate Bryce's morning started like any other. Her smart home system woke her at 6 a.m. with her usual playlist. The coffee maker fired up. Her iPhone read her schedule while she brushed her teeth. Normal. Routine.
Jesus Christ.
She opened her banking app. Something was wrong. Her balance was 0. She blinked and checked again. Her balance was back. Just a temporary error, she thought. She took a sip of coffee and nearly dropped her mug. The smart speaker was playing someone else's conversation. A couple fighting about credit card debt. She unplugged it. Then her smart TV started cycling through her photos. Private photos.
Well, that would be
intimate
sketchy.
photos. She pulled the plug. And then her phone rang.
Well, I wouldn't like that.
Then she heard the sirens. The oldest code we know of isn't written in complex mathematics. It's carved in stone, in an Egyptian tomb from 4,000 years ago. The scribes simply replaced regular hieroglyphs with ones they made up. They weren't trying to keep secrets, they were showing off. These were prayers carved into tomb walls. The scribes wanted to prove they knew something others didn't.
Oh, those were ancient emojis.
Not exactly.
Let's test that theory. Can humans crack this?
The simple act of substituting one symbol for another unleashed something: the human desire to keep secrets. And for thousands of years, that's how codes worked. You'd replace letters with other letters or symbols. Linear A is a secret writing system created by the Minoans in ancient Crete 3,600 years ago. We can read its descendant, Linear B, but Linear A is still a secret. Every attempt to crack it has failed. The Spartans made practical use of codes.
This is Cryptography!
Please don't.
Too late. I already ordered the tunic and the cape. Now I just need the abs.
Can I get back to this?
Go ahead. I need to catch up on my sit-ups anyway.
The Spartans created the skittily. Here's how it works. Picture a wooden rod about as thick as your wrist.
Rod.
Stop it. Now wrap a strip of leather or parchment around it like a spiral. Write your message across the strip, following the spiral. When you unwrap it, the letters scramble. The message is nonsense. But wrap it around another rod exactly the same size, and the message reappears. This is called a transposition cipher. You're not changing the letters, you're just moving them around. Julius Caesar encoded all his military correspondence by shifting each letter in the alphabet by 3 spaces. A becomes D, B becomes E, and so on. When you hit Z, you loop back to A. This is called a shift cipher or Caesar cipher. The key is knowing how many spaces to shift. Caesar used 3, but you can use any number. His enemies never cracked it. In the 1820s, Thomas Beale used a book cipher to hide the location of millions of dollars of buried treasure, and here's how it works. First, pick a book, any book. Then you replace each word in your message with a number. That number tells you which word to use from your chosen book. Count down to the 5th word on page 1, and that's your first word. Maybe the 19th word on page 2 is your second word, and so on. Beale used the Declaration of Independence.
Nicolas Cage has entered the chat.
When someone finally figured that out in 1885, they cracked one of his 3 messages. The treasure is somewhere in Bedford County, Virginia, but the other 2 messages? Still locked, because we don't know which books he used. Every year, thousands of people try to crack the Beale ciphers to find the treasure, and every year they fail. The Zodiac Killer was also ahead of his time. He encoded a message using a homophonic substitution cipher using 408 different symbols. Instead of replacing each letter with just one symbol, you replace it with several different ones. The letter E might become 3 or 7 or some symbol. Nobody knows. This makes the code much harder to break because you can't use frequency analysis. In normal English, E is the most common letter, but if you split it between multiple symbols, that pattern disappears. For 51 years, the Zodiac's message stumped the world's best cryptographers. Then in 2020, 3 amateur codebreakers finally solved it.
What'd it say?
Well, it said a bunch of stuff, but it started with, I like killing people because it's so much fun.
Yeah, for a serial killer, he wasn't much of a poet.
He wasn't. And the Zodiac Killer was never found. But quantum computers are about to change everything. All these ancient methods, substitutions, patterns, and tricks share one weakness: math. This is a weakness quantum computers can exploit. Soon these machines might reveal every secret message ever written, including yours.
God.
The quantum computer hissed as liquid helium circulated through the processor. Carl Bishop checked the temperature. Minus 460 degrees Fahrenheit. Absolute zero. Quantum bits needed to be that cold to maintain coherence. Stanford's quantum lab was empty at 3 a.m. He'd been running simulations for 12 hours straight. His eyes burned. But CTEC's grant requirements were clear. Demonstrate quantum error correction or lose funding. Quantum computers were terrible at error correction. Quantum states are too fragile, too much noise. If the temperature changes by half a degree, they decohere. If radio waves leak in, they decohere. A truck hits a pothole a mile away, the vibration in the earth makes them decohere.
That's crazy.
But Carl noticed something
that can feel
strange
a computer
in the
that can feel that
data.
little of a vibration.
The errors weren't random. Then he realized they weren't errors at all. The quantum computer was cracking encryption keys, millions of them. Keys that protect everything from banking passwords to nuclear launch codes. Carl decided to test this. He entered an RSA 4096 security key and ran down the hall for another coffee. He wasn't in a hurry. Even the world's most powerful supercomputers would need billions or trillions of years to break RSA 4096. But when he returned 5 minutes later, he couldn't believe it. The key was cracked. Carl now realized his computer was the most powerful and dangerous weapon on Earth. He started to panic. He tried to delete the data, but it was already uploaded to CTEC's private servers. By sunrise, 3 intelligence agencies had flagged the data transfer. By 9 a.m., the first bank security system was breached. By noon, every bank went dark. The quantum apocalypse had begun. Your entire digital life depends on 2 prime numbers. That's it, 2 numbers, and they protect everything. Your passwords, your messages, your bank accounts, all of it. Modern encryption is based on this simple trick. Take 2 huge prime numbers and multiply them together. That creates your public key, a number anyone can use to send you secret messages. But only someone who knows those original prime numbers can read those messages. Working backward, trying to find those original numbers, would take a computer billions of years. Or so we thought. In December 2024, Google...
Give me 1 second, guys. There's someone at my door. Sorry about that, guys. Package. All right.
Google unveiled Project Willow. Their quantum computer solved a problem in 5 minutes that would take our fastest supercomputers longer than the age of the universe. Quantum computers do this using superposition.
Hang on. You want to pump the brakes in the nerd chat and fill me in?
Well, think about flipping a coin. It lands on either heads or tails. Normal computer bits work the same way. Everything is either 1 or 0. It's binary. But quantum computer bits, or qubits, can be 1 and 0 at the same time.
Oh, so qubits are non-binary. What? Aren't they?
No, they are, but I need you to stop talking. So instead of flipping that coin, it's a coin spinning on its edge. While it spins, it's not heads or tails, it's both at once. That's superposition. Now imagine trying to crack a safe with a million combinations. A normal computer could only try 1 combination at a time, but a quantum computer, it tries all combinations simultaneously. The NSA has been warning about this moment for years. They call it Y2Q, the year quantum computers become powerful enough to break our current encryption. They thought it would happen between 2030 and 2040, but Willow changed everything. For 30 years, quantum computers suffered one major problem: errors. Reading quantum data is like trying to read a book during an earthquake. It's too unstable to work properly. But Google fixed that with Project Willow.
How'd it fix it?
By grouping qubits together. There are groups of qubits handling processing, and groups of qubits that do nothing but track and fix errors. The more qubits you add, the fewer errors you have. It may sound counterintuitive, but it's like building a sandcastle that gets stronger the bigger it gets. Now, with AI's help, quantum computers are on track to break current encryption by the year 2029, way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, this is bad.
In 2024, the Department of Defense accelerated its quantum modernization program. Their latest directive warns that critical systems must be quantum resistant by 2025. But one detail stands out. They're not just protecting future messages. They're racing to protect everything we've ever encrypted. And they're running out of time. When Liz Emery's phone buzzed at 4 a.m., she almost ignored it. After 15 years in cybersecurity, late-night calls usually meant someone at the hospital forgot their password. But caller ID showed Mount Sinai's emergency line. The first report was in. Patient records appeared on digital billboards in Times Square. They included blood test results, psychiatric evaluations, and terminal diagnoses that patients had not yet told their families about. Senators, congressmen, CEOs, their private medical data was all over the internet. She was still coordinating the hospital's response when the news reported that every dating app was breached. Then they came back online. Suddenly, on every device in the city, smartphones, TVs, billboards, was a link to a site where anyone could look up any information that was part of the dating app breach. Direct messages, real names and emails, browser histories, private photos and videos, all revealed. Liz figured
so essentially the Ashley Madison hack all over again.
Then an email came into hospital security. Pay $1 billion or every pacemaker control system on Earth will go down.
Oh, that's sketchy.
Pay another billion or insulin pumps will go down, starting with diabetic children. The city started to crack. Police dispatch systems were offline. Traffic lights went dark. ATMs were dumping cash into the street. Bank balances were set to zero. Autonomous vehicles became killing machines. Delivery drones crashed into buildings like kamikaze pilots. A fleet of Cybertrucks tore through a shopping mall before exploding, all at once. News channels tried to cover the chaos, but their broadcasts were hijacked. CNN anchors watched helplessly as their personal emails were displayed on screen. The White House press secretary's private texts appeared during a briefing about the crisis. Then the NSA made an emergency broadcast that somehow made it through. They said there was a nationwide system compromise. For the safety of every American, martial law was now imposed. Just as the message was covering the mandatory curfews, every phone in the country
I cannot
went dark.
stress enough, never comply to a fucking government curfew. Fuck martial law. That's what tyrants do.
Major technology companies are racing to build quantum-resistant encryption. Google, IBM, and Microsoft have teams working around the clock. But there's a big problem. Quantum computers don't just threaten future messages. They threaten everything we've ever encrypted. Every encrypted file, every secure transmission, every protected database becomes vulnerable, even ones from decades ago. Intelligence agencies have been collecting encrypted data since the Cold War. Your old emails, your financial records, your private messages, all sitting in databases waiting to be unlocked. Then there's Bitcoin. Its entire security system depends on the same math quantum computers are about to break. Shadow groups have already collected hundreds of thousands of encrypted Bitcoin wallets. They're just waiting for quantum computers powerful enough to crack them. All that money could vanish in seconds. At current prices, that's billions of dollars.
Total till zero, baby!
Banks know this is coming. JP Morgan started building quantum-resistant vaults in 2023. Not for gold or cash, for computers. These facilities will never connect to the internet. They'll use paper records and human couriers. The military is training for quantum dark operations.
We're going back to an analog world. They're going to have to go back to analog. Everything's going to have to be done like it was done 50 years ago.
Dead drops and one-time code books. The same methods that kept secrets during World War II.
Yeah, literally,
The
quantum
NSA's
computers will
latest
set us back
reports
50
show
years when it
Project
comes
Willow
to
proves
security.
something they already knew. The quantum apocalypse isn't coming, it's already here. The NSA isn't trying to stop it. It's preparing for what comes after. Because the race is no longer about building quantum computers. The race is to survive them.
Ooh. Unique with a double fucking
The line at
socket
Chase
on it.
Manhattan stretched around the block. Cash only. No cards, no transfers. Just paper money and metal coins. Donald Janik watched from his
All right.
office window across the street.
Definitely
In
need
his
to do
30
loop
years
filters
as a
after
security
this.
consultant, he'd seen a lot of changes, but nothing like this. The quantum apocalypse was erasing decades of technological progress. His company now specialized in physical security, armed guards, paper record keeping, mechanical locks, the kind of security you couldn't hack. When the hospital records started appearing online, they shut down their networks and went analog. Now armed guards protected rooms full of paper files. Doctors wrote prescriptions by hand. Old mechanical devices became valuable. Typewriter repair shops reopened. Filing cabinet manufacturers couldn't keep up with demand. Bicycle messengers replaced email. Everyone with skills from the pre-digital age suddenly found themselves in demand. Retired secretaries who could take shorthand, mechanics who could fix cars without computers, accountants who knew how to keep books by hand.
Hey, that's me. I'm a mechanic that can fix a car without a computer.
They never lived in an analog world.
That's what I grew up doing.
They'd pulled their money out early and bought physical assets. Gold, silver, land, things you could touch. Things that existed in the real world, not just as numbers in a database. The rest had to adapt or lose everything.
That was close.
Back at Stanford, Carl Bishop struggled with depression. He blamed himself. C-Tech, the company supporting his work, no longer took his calls. Still, Carl wouldn't stop digging. He had to find out what went wrong. Then Carl found something buried in the data. Timestamps that didn't make sense. Some encrypted messages were broken months ago. Then he realized the quantum apocalypse didn't start with his mistake. It started months earlier. The first bank breach wasn't at noon the first day. It was 3 months before. But balances weren't touched. Hospital records, websites, smartphone apps, most had been compromised for months. But again, the data wasn't touched. Carl realized the chaos wasn't an accident. It was cover for something else. Something much bigger. Something much worse. Scientists are racing to develop new encryption methods that even quantum computers can't break. They call it post-quantum cryptography.
Those
the strategy
melees,
by mathematical problems so complex that not even quantum computers can solve them efficiently. But there's a problem. Whenever we think we found an unbreakable code, someone finds a way to break it. The Germans thought Enigma was mathematically impossible to crack. The Japanese believed Purple would keep their World War II communications secret forever. The NSA once claimed RSA encryption would take billions of years to defeat. They were all wrong. Some banks are returning to physical security systems, offline computers, paper records, and in-person verification. Government agencies are reviving Cold War-era methods, one-time pads, dead drops, and bicycle couriers.
Sometimes things don't happen the way you planned. Sometimes you can end up lower than you started.
What?
Quicksilver. Somebody out there gets it.
Quantum dark operations like air-gapped facilities, analog communication, and paper messages could work, but they're temporary solutions. Throughout history, humans have played an endless cat-and-mouse game with secrets. Someone creates an unbreakable code, someone else breaks it, and a more complex code replaces it, and the cycle continues. In the quantum age, there are no more secrets, only information waiting to be revealed. That's why the NSA isn't trying to stop it. They aren't building new code-breaking technology, but you know what they are building? Bunkers. The concrete room in the bunker beneath Fort Meade was cold and quiet. Carl Bishop was in his 5th hour of interrogation by 4 government agents. The NSA building above them had been abandoned when their classified files leaked, but this room, which technically didn't exist, still had power and a working computer. Carl learned the truth over the past few months. C-Tech wasn't a tech company. It was a joint NSA-DARPA program that had been running since 2019. They didn't have just one quantum computer. They had a network of them, hidden in secure facilities nationwide. For years, the network had quietly broken every encryption it touched. Banking records, medical files, private messages, and government secrets. The intelligence agencies had access to everything, but there was a problem. They couldn't act on any of it without revealing their capability. Imagine knowing about every terrorist plot, every corporate crime, every government corruption scandal, but being unable to stop any of it without exposing how you got the information. The agencies were drowning in intelligence they couldn't use. The solution was elegant. Create a world where privacy no longer existed, where every secret was public. If nothing were private, there'd be no need to explain how they obtained their intelligence. No search warrants were necessary. Everything was already exposed. The social chaos was part of the plan. Communities going analog wasn't a problem, it was the goal. Drive the dangerous elements offline, where they could be more easily monitored through traditional surveillance. Let the general public choose between convenience and privacy. They would choose convenience. They always did. But the intelligence agencies had their own solution for secure communication, a return to Cold War tradecraft. dead drops, one-time pads, face-to-face meetings in soundproof rooms. Their most sensitive operations moved to facilities that never touched a network or used a computer. Buildings that didn't officially exist, staffed by people with no digital footprint. They maintained two separate organizations, the public-facing agency everyone knew about and the shadow agency that operated completely offline. The public agency would rebuild its security and update its systems. All of it would be theater. The real work happened in places like this concrete bunker, places with no windows, no cameras, no phones. Places where messages were still written by hand and burned after reading. The most important secrets were never digitized, never encrypted, and never stored anywhere except in human memory. The NSA didn't break encryption to destroy society. They destroyed society to hide that they'd broken encryption almost a year ago. Carl was set up. The quantum apocalypse was pinned on him. But what could he do about it? Martial law was still in effect. The NSA wanted him to keep working and keep quiet. He could either agree to cooperate or go to prison. Violation of the Espionage Act, willful communication of national defense information, unauthorized access of classified documents. The list went on and on. He didn't have much of a choice. As Carl left the concrete room, he realized that in a world with no secrets, the most powerful people weren't those who could break encryption. The most powerful people were those who could keep secrets without it. And right now, the only people who could do that works for the NSA. Thank you so much for hanging out today. My name is AJ. There's Hecklefish.
My voice is my passport. Verify me.
This has been the Y-Files. If you had fun to learn anything, do him a favor, subscribe, comment, like, share. It's just a small little thing, but it really helps us out. Like most topics we cover on the channel, today's was recommended by you. So if there's a story you'd like to see or learn more about, go to theyfiles.com/tips. And remember, the Y-Files is also a podcast. Twice a week, I post deep dives into the stories we cover here on the channel, and I post episodes that wouldn't be allowed on the channel. It's called the Y-Files Operation Podcast, and it's available everywhere you get your podcasts. If you need more Y-Files in your life, check out our Discord server. There's over 60,000 people on there, so 24/7, something's going on. They're talking about the same weird stuff we do here. It's a great community, it's really supportive, it's a lot of fun, and it's free to join. And if you want to follow what's going on with the Y-Files at any given time, check out our production calendar. It's theyfiles.com/cal. There we post our episode schedule, upcoming podcasts, live streams, all that stuff. And special thanks to our patrons who make this channel possible. Every episode of the Y-Files is dedicated to our Patreon members. You know, the last 6 months have been rocky, and I couldn't have gotten through it without you. So I can't say thank you enough. And if you'd like to support the channel, keep us going, and join a great community, consider becoming a member on Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you get access to perks like videos early with no commercials, access to merch only available to members, plus 2 private live streams every week just for you. The whole Y-Files team is on the stream. We've all got our webcams on. And you can turn your webcam on, jump up on stage, ask a question, make a joke, talk about anything you like. Another great way to support the channel is grab something from the Y-Files store.
Grab a Hecklish t-shirt or one of these coffee mugs that are perfectly suited for a gentleman's fist or a lady's fist or whatever you happen to call yourself or identify as. You stick your fist in there for a good time, or grab one of these hoodies or one of these haunted voodoo dolls that aren't creepy at all. Or get a squeezy animal, stuff Hecklish tongue in doll toy.
Those are the plugs, and that's going to do it. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you are appreciated.
Y'all should subscribe to this channel. This is one of my favorite channels. This channel's new, too. It's been out for maybe 3 years. I found it. He had 10,000 subs and about half a year's worth of videos out. He's now at 4.47 million, which is crazy. 284 videos. All right, let's back up.
Well, it appears to be a dark day for TikTok and its hundreds of millions of users in the United States, as the Supreme Court early this morning ruled that they will in fact uphold the TikTok ban with just 3 days left, essentially just 2 days.
Oh, Gen Z's losing their shit right now.
For TikTok to shut down in the United States,
influencers are about
or
to be
sold.
done.
It appears at least very likely that for some period of time, they're probably going to lose access to TikTok. Now, earlier on, there were a lot of questions about well, if the U.S. bans it, can you still use the app? Well, that was yes. However, now TikTok has said, we're just shutting down altogether in the United States.
We almost died. We almost died. That was so fucking close.
One way people are going to get around that is by using a VPN. Coincidentally, I have a VPN sponsor, so I might as well play their ad quick before we get into all this news.
Yeah, most people don't have a VPN. Most people on their mobile devices don't have access to a VPN.
You're completely missing out, and private internet access is the one I use on all of my devices. If you've been following the news, you see that censorship, websites, apps are getting shut down in certain countries, all sorts of craziness. Well, a VPN helps you never have to worry about that. Private internet access also protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, internet service providers, and others that can view your personal data. Perhaps also just as importantly, private internet access allows you to access region-restricted content from all over the world. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and more have different library options based on where you're located, and some shows simply cannot be accessed if you're not in the target location. Happens to me all the time. Many sports events also have regional blackouts. Well, VPNs can be a convenient way to make sure you're getting the content that you're paying for. Private internet access also allows you to protect an unlimited amount of devices all at the same time, so your entire household with a single subscription. And I've been working with private internet access so long that I have an absolutely massive discount available to my viewers. Link in the description below. Get private internet access today using my link. Save huge, protect your computers, access all the content that you've been paying for, and ensure that your internet is never sent. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled to uphold the TikTok ban. Although Trump could choose not to enforce the law, it is unclear whether third-party internet service will support the app. So the original story was you weren't going to be able to upload or download new versions of TikTok, but if you already had it on your phone, you were going to be able to continue to use it until it became obsolete essentially. TikTok then came out and said, no, actually, we're going to shut it down completely. So we don't really know. There's obviously still a chance that someone may buy it. There may be a chance that Biden may punt this altogether. As a side note, I believe that long-form content is seeing its best days. I believe that short-form content and live stream content is the future. That's why I will continue to still make my 10 to 12 minute internet news segments. But I started a whole new 3-minute vertical, goldfish brain format, and I upload it to TikTok and I upload it to Instagram because I have to adapt. I have to try and reach the people that are there. Now, do I upload it from my personal phone? No, I do not. I upload it from my desktop using a VPN. But nonetheless, I have a TikTok. It's called The Quartering News. It's one page.
Next.
I have an Instagram.
Over here.
It's called The Quartering News.
Clear that.
I upload the vertical news from it. I upload it to Facebook Reels too.
And then we need to clear
I believe
that
short
form
form
and
is
then
the
we'll
future.
have 5 fucking towers, and we need to get
someone else.
precursor
By the way, if you use
tablets.
TikTok, follow me there. If you use Instagram, follow me there.
I need to figure out which ones give us precursor tablets.
But, I'm hopeful that this app can be saved by being purchased by an American company. The Supreme Court has upheld the law requiring China-based ByteDance to divest its ownership from TikTok by Sunday or face an effective ban of the popular social media video app in the United States. ByteDance has so far refused to sell TikTok, meaning many U.S. users could lose access to the app on Sunday. The app will still work, or may still work, for those who have TikTok on their phones, although ByteDance has also threatened to shut the app completely down. In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court sided with the Biden administration, upholding Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act with President Joe Biden that he signed back in April. Now, I'll say this. The only person to blame for this is TikTok. TikTok was told not to send American information back to China, and they were caught repeatedly doing that. Now, I am in general against bans. In this particular case, I don't think China should be able to be buying real estate in the United States. I don't think China should be having their applications here in the United States. We can't sell our cars in China. We can't sell our apps in China. So they shouldn't be able to do commerce here. That's my opinion. Now, if, a United States person or group of people buys TikTok, that would be fine then. It's fine. But
This is the
Here's
first
thing,
tower
there's
I've
a lot
done
of
that's
people
not
coming
a
forward
tower. It's
wanting to
fucking
buy
weird.
it. Kick, the guy from Shark Tank, I think Rumble made an offer at one point. There's no doubt that for 170 million Americans, TikTok offers a distinctive and expansive outlet for expression, means of engagement, and source of community, the Supreme Court's opinion said. But Congress has determined that the divestiture is necessary to address its well-supported national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices and relationship with foreign adversary. Supreme Court Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Neil Grosh have written concurrences. The nation's highest court said that in its opinion, while data collection and analysis is a common practice in the digital age, the sheer size of TikTok and susceptibility to foreign adversary control, together with vast swaths of sensitive data the platform collects, poses a national security concern. Under the new law, third-party internet service providers like Apple and Google will be penalized for supporting ByteDance on TikTok after the January 19th deadline. Now here is, again, I understand both sides of it. I understand they send the data, that's bad. They said they weren't going to send the data, they sent the data anyway. My concern is when the US government says Signal is a foreign app, or Telegram is a foreign app, and we need to get rid of that. It is very like, if the only factor in this is that the U.S. government says they're a foreign adversary and that's where the app's from, then I'm very concerned that the U.S. government will just start calling more people foreign adversaries to ban apps. This is very CCP, right? The CCP says, the United States is a foreign adversaries. We won't allow that. We won't allow their apps here. Why do we allow theirs? If the internet service providers and app stores owners comply, they will remove TikTok from the respective app stores, preventing users from downloading TikTok or installing the necessary updates to make the app functional. Kate Ruan, the director of Center for Democracy and Technology nonprofit, criticized the Supreme Court's decision, saying it harms the free expression of hundreds of millions of TikTok users in this country and around the world. Wrong. TikTok foolishly decided that they wanted to use this they wanted to claim that it is a free speech issue. The TikTok ban is in fact not a free speech issue. It is the entire app in and of itself. Individuals use the app to create and share information, to get their news and comment on current issues. Again, I have a TikTok. Go follow it. The Quartering News. You might never be able to follow it again. I have an Instagram. Yes, I hate Instagram policies. Yes, I hate TikTok policies. But 200 million people are there, and if I can help show them the way away from wokeness, then I feel like I have to try to do it while taking, personal precautions about sharing my data and not having it on my phone and things like that. I mean, look at RedNote. People think RedNote's great. Bro, RedNote collects more data than you would ever imagine. It does. It has like object scanning technology. So in your videos, it's looking at like all that kind of stuff. What's going on in the background of your videos and all this kind of stuff.
That's a breach.
Last Friday, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments, Giggy,
we're gonna do
from lawyers representing TikTok content creators and the U.S. government. TikTok's lawyer argued that this violates the First Amendment, which, again, I think was a losing tactic.
What are these?
Now, who is going to enforce this? Well, Joe Biden has said
players have 50% less cooldown. That's going to fuck the breach up. Well,
given the timing of when it goes into effect over a holiday weekend, a day before the inauguration, it will be up to the next administration to implement. A White House official similarly told Politico. So essentially, good news, TikTokers. Not only is Joe Biden saying, hey, I'm not interested, Trump has said he wants to save TikTok. Now, if we look, there's been a lot of suitors. Kick has said they want to buy TikTok. Here, business purchase letter of intent, Kick, TikTok. The business partner letter of their letter sets forth proposed terms so that you see the sellers, ByteDance. The buyer is Kick, so they could push all their gambling stuff on young Americans. It'd be great for them. They made some sort of offer here that looks in the hundreds of millions, I would guess. They have it blurred out. It's probably just a PR thing, It's probably just a PR thing. But we've also seen Kevin Leary say he's ready to buy the app. So there's you know, he's got a group of people. He's got a big money investment. Will he be able to afford it? I don't know. Will TikTok say, we don't have any interest whatsoever in being forced to sell our software to Americans? We're not going to do that. Probably. I don't know. You know, Trump has signaled that he wants to save TikTok. If TikTok is here and it's owned by Americans, I have no problem with it existing. And I think everybody should be on it to help counter these crazy far leftoid opinions. Now, I don't get a lot of views on there. I get like 20 or 30. But I'm hoping, you know, I'm hoping that 1,000 people will follow me today. I'm hoping that my Instagram will pick up. I'm hoping that I can reach America's youth with non-woke messaging. You have to counter all this woke propaganda. Now, the algorithm certainly does force a certain type of content on America's youth, which is worth considering. But if they get purchased by an American company, then that can go to court.
We didn't get to it fast enough.
They can get sued for that kind of stuff. We can see a little more clearly what they're doing to Americans. So I guess we'll know. You know, we'll continue to make sure you subscribe or follow to my channel. I'll update you. Right now, it looks like it's going dark in 48 hours, but we'll see. We'll see if Biden actually enforces it or not. I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, boys. Are we ready? Are we fucking ready? Big drama. Yep, big drama. Big drama.
Hi, everyone. I'm the act attorney here. What a pleasure it is to meet all of you today.
Oh, God.
I'm so thrilled and excited. Today, we're going to be talking about...
Well, it appears to be a dark day for TikTok and its...
So almost exactly 5 months ago, the Republican presidential candidate shot in the face on camera. The man who apparently did it is killed. The world stops. History changes. But the one thing that doesn't happen is any accounting of what that was. Who was this guy? How did this happen? And even now, on the cusp of Trump's inauguration, it's disappeared. I haven't heard anybody ask those questions. I've heard some dark mutterings. And so you're one of the people who I think was on the story at the very beginning in a rational but insistent way. And so I thought it'd be worth asking, like, what was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen an incident of that magnitude disappear from the news so quickly.
Yes.
We got, what, maybe a week of, like, true kind of flood the zone coverage?
Yes.
And then it was gone.
What is this guy? I can't kill this guy. What the fuck is happening? He's making it so I can't. He's doing something to my cooldowns. I can't fucking shoot my grenades.
That to me is the weirdest thing about it.
But it was a shooting. It was an assassination attempt, and it raised like the most pressing possible questions about a lot of different things. And you know, I understand the news media didn't want to give Trump any advantage, didn't want to run the picture of him triumphant. I get it. But you would think that every elected official, every American would want to know how was this allowed to happen? It was allowed to happen, but by whom and why and how? And I don't hear anybody, including Republicans, asking those questions. So, like, what is this?
Yeah, so I kind of look at it as three big questions. Who is the shooter?
Yes.
Everything that kind of puts him together. How did they let it happen? That whole process. And then what happened to everyone who let it happen? And then within that, like the framework I have, trying to figure out, you know, what exactly happened is you can look at it as like option one, just a total snafu across the board. Everyone failed, accidents happen, guy manages to get up there. It's exactly what it looks like. So that's option one. And then you got option two, which is kind of what I would call strategic incompetence. So you have DHS, which runs Secret Service. And the Secret Service is a soup sandwich from top to bottom.
Government tried to kill
It's
him.
a disaster. Culturally, everything about it. Did you have people who were making that even more difficult, who were deliberately making Trump vulnerable on the off chance that maybe someone would go solve their problems for them? So that's my number 2. My number 3 kind of scenario is it encompasses all of number 2. But you kind of have 2 different hands of government. You've got the Secret Service hand, just totally incompetent, making them completely vulnerable. But unbeknownst to that hand, you have this other hand. Like, I would call it like the Russiagate hoax hand. These people who are just always doing awful, evil things.
The John Brennan hand.
Yeah. Was there somebody there looking for super disturbed, impressionable young men to kind of poke with the stick? Like, Trump's and Butler. You should go check that out. So you have the incompetent hand and then the devious hand. So that to me is option 3. And they weren't working with each other, but they were creating the conditions to allow that what happened to happen. And then I think the 4th one is the government just killed him. It's like I kind of look at everything through those lenses and try to figure out, can we disprove this one? What fits here? And like where I am now, like kind of between 2 and 3. I refuse to believe this was just a series of unfortunate accidents and incompetences put together. It's just not. I just don't believe it. Because I've been alive for the last 10 years, watching everything they do.
Yes.
And yet at the same time, I don't think there's evidence for like the JFK style. Like we all know Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do it, right?
Of course.
It's absurd. So I don't think there's any evidence, or at least I've not seen any, to suggest that was replicated here. So I think it's somewhere in between deliberate incompetence to make him vulnerable, and then you had some cell somewhere finding someone to urge to go do it in ways that would make it very hard to trace.
So thank you for starting with your conclusion. Let's work backward and go through by number the 3 questions that you raised at the outset. Who was Crooks, Thomas Crooks, the shooter?
Yeah, we still don't know. Like, it's wild. This kid comes out of nowhere, manages to get on the roof, shoots President Trump, fires 8 shots before anyone even like remotely tries to bother him. Is able to fly a drone there for like 10 or 20 minutes. Did recon multiple times throughout the day. Had an operable IEDs in his car. Had a bomb in his house. And we still know basically nothing about him. It's crazy. So America First Legal, they sued to get his academic records.
I mean, it's not
and
great.
turns out he was a really good student.
Horrible.
Really good student. I think he got his entire time in high school and college, like maybe 2 C's. I think one was in Spanish and one was in differential equations. And the rest were mostly A's and some B's here and there. So he was like a smart kid.
Shit, I forgot to empty my fucking bag.
One of the congressional committees did an investigation looking into it. And parents really didn't know much about their own son. Like, I think either the mom or the dad at the point asked, "Are you gay? Like, you're not dating anyone? What's going on?" Like, they don't even know kind of what's going on there. We know the FBI has like his phone, his devices, his computer. They know who he was talking to. They know where he went. They know where he bought stuff. They know what he searched for. And we don't know anything about that. So there's a Senate report from the Homeland Security Committee that tried to dig into it. And there are 2 congressional committees in the House and the Senate that actually did a really good job, given all the constraints they have, figuring stuff out. So they asked the FBI all these questions because the FBI took the lead on it. Give us all this information. At the time the Senate put out their initial report, the FBI had given them 27 pages total.
How? I mean, it's Congress. They could shut the FBI down. Like, what? I don't understand what is going on.
And you had the
on
other.
What grounds would they not turn that over? Do you know?
It's this weird thing that happens. They actually don't have any legal basis to do it. They'll say things like, well, ongoing investigation. That's totally made up. Even when there is an ongoing investigation and not when your suspect is dead. So, like, clearly no one's going to be criminally tried for that because he's dead. Even that's totally made up. There's nothing in the Constitution that says this agency that Congress created and is funded by Congress can just not give them stuff because reasons. It's totally made up. So I think a big reason is most people in Congress are totally weak. Like, they're cowards.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They don't want to get crosswise with the FBI. It would take a lot of work. So they just kind of like, okay. I guess we won't get
ongoing investigation.
Yeah. The House committee, for example, they also did a great job. They said that the FBI interviewed over 1,000
And that's how you get rid of
people
a scammer.
in the course of their investigation. And they produced over
a scam
1,000. They're called FD 302s, which is how the FBI. It's actually crazy what they're allowed to do.
I know.
They don't have to have a transcript or anything when they interview you. They just have a piece of paper that's their recollection of what you said, and then that becomes
They
gospel.
don't have to record it. No.
No. That's actually how James Comey got Martha Stewart thrown in prison.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's so dirty. But so they have 1,000 interviews, over 1,000 documents. They gave the House 81. So it's just mind blowing. So we don't know like anything about this Crooks guy beyond I think like maybe a 15-minute press conference that one of the FBI, I think might have been the FBI guy out of Pittsburgh who runs that office. Like 15 minutes of him talking in very vague, like 50,000-foot terms about what they knew. Oh, he searched for Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Do you remember that?
Yes.
How that came out? And that was meant to make it look like, oh, the guy didn't really have any political motives.
Did he? I mean, what were his motives?
Well, I mean, the base motive was he wanted to kill Donald Trump.
Right.
Which everyone kind of got lost over. You'd have the talking heads being like, what was his motive? Well, I think he wanted to shoot Trump in the face. Just spitballing here. But so you have the FBI is like, well, he searched for Trump and Biden, so clearly he didn't have any political views. I'm like, well, how many times did he search for? What was he searching? That's like it's kind of an important thing. Well, he searched for the DNC and the RNC. Okay, great. That's utterly worthless information that I could do nothing with. And they're like, and that's it.
So we
literally don't know.
We know nothing about this kid.
No, we don't know who he was talking. Like, here are the things I would want to know. All the places he went in, like, the 6 months leading up to this. Not just the week. I want to know every place he went. I want to know every person he talked to in person. I want to know every person he had a phone conversation with, texted with, telegrammed with, signaled with. I want to know everything he looked for on Google Maps. I want his whole internet search history. And I, like, want to go through it in real time. And like just find out what was happening. I assume the FBI's done that. I know they have the capability to do it. Why has Congress not been told anything about it? And why have we not? It's just, and so that kind of stuff is why it's impossible for me to look at everything and be like, well, it was just a series of unfortunate accidents.
But I mean, the core question in any crime is like, why was it committed? And I mean, it sounds like there's no progress whatsoever.
None.
Well, that itself is like, just tells you that the country's in free fall, that it's just so corrupt it can't even carry out the basic functions of government.
Right.
Trying to figure out why murderers murder.
Right. But like who is he talking to? Was he just alone in his own silo doing all this? Did he do everything on the internet? I don't believe it, because at one point they told us, oh, he had encrypted text messages, some of which were overseas, and they just let that float out there and then never talked about it again.
Is there any evidence he was in touch with any specific person or group overseas?
None that I've seen.
None.
None.
So we no
it's
details
a
about
total black box. Yeah.
Okay.
So Heritage Foundation, at one point, one of their guys over there, is great investigator, Mike Howell. I don't know how he did it. Was able to get like location data on devices that had been in or near Thomas Crooks's home.
Yes.
In the weeks or months leading up to it. And then where those had been. So I think this came out like maybe a week after.
Yes.
There was one that had pinged around the FBI.
Yes.
Now that could be the
FBI building in Washington.
Now that could be a ton of different things because everything's around the FBI.
Of course.
But I'd like to know more about that. But we haven't been told anything.
So, he had IEDs. He sent up a drone. So in order, what were the IEDs? Do we have any idea?
Yeah, so he had 2 IEDs in his car that they found afterwards. They were wired. They had detonators in them. They had primers. They were connected to remote sensors that he had a remote control for on the roof to set off. Now, what's super weird about it is in the car, the remote transmitters there were off. So even if he had that remote transmitter in his hand, he couldn't have set him off. So that to me is weird. You go through all this trouble. You're going to try and kill the president. You've got all these bombs in your car, but then you don't. I mean, they're technically armed, but there was nothing that he could do to set them off.
All right, that one's
That's
done.
weird.
It is weird.
That's been the
It doesn't make any
boring
sense to
stream.
me.
I don't know where the
I
fuck
should have asked
everybody is
this earlier.
today.
No statement of any kind, no manifesto.
None.
No description of his own beliefs about anything.
Nope.
Of any kind.
None. He liked shooting. Like he seemed to go to a shooting range every now and again.
Well, clearly he likes shooting, and I right after the shooting, there were all these, usual. I was a door kicker of some special operations people on TV saying that's an easy shot, 130 yards. That's just not true. That's a lot. I mean, I shoot a lot. Crooks turned a local cop, came up a ladder behind him. Crooks pointed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pointed.
No, you're right.
Him, backed the cop down, and then immediately assumed the prone position. Got off 8 shots. And I think it was 130 yards.
I think it was probably 150, but like
150.
whatever, that's plus or
Well,
minus.
Pretty far.
Yeah.
And got as close as the president's ear. So under extreme stress, as a 20-year-old with no military training, I mean, luck does play a role in everything, including shooting. But I'm sorry, I have a 100-yard rifle range. I know what that is. That's like pretty good.
Yeah, it's helpful to know what he had. So he had, I think it was a DPMS AR-15, like pretty vanilla off the shelf. I had wondered for a long time what his optic was.
Yes.
Was he using iron sights? Because to me, that makes all the difference.
It does.
For like a layman between hard and easy.
Yes.
Like you take some like pipe hitter who's been doing it for 20 years, whatever, he can do what he can do. He only had a red dot on it. So he had a Hollow Sun red dot with a 2 MOA red dot, no magnification. I like to think I'm a pretty good shooter. I shoot a lot. I think that's a tricky shot.
I totally agree, especially under stress.
Yeah. And
which is always the key. It's like anyone can sit on a Sunday afternoon with your kids and
on the bench with like
completely. Yeah. But there's a cop behind you with a gun, and you lie down and get off 8 shots, and one of them is just spot on.
Well, and he only missed because Trump turned his head.
I know.
Like when you know the angle, like he started out with a target like this that became this. Like
yes.
And so he went, from probably a 4 to 6 inch target to like a 1 inch target, just based on where he was aiming. My friends are going to make fun of me for saying like that's a hard shot. I think that's a tricky shot. No magnification, under duress, on a hot roof.
It is a tricky shot. I don't get all these people like, I do that. Okay, show me.
Yeah, if you have like a 18x magnifier on it, you're shooting at paper and you're on a bench and you've got a nice little platform set up, that's an easy shot.
And there's
that's
no
not what
armed
happened.
police officer behind you coming up to shoot you. But again, luck does play a role in life for sure. In life as backgammon, luck is a component. But okay, so he brings these explosives inside what should be a perimeter. He puts up.
It was outside the perimeter, so it was in his car,
right?
So I don't think that was within like the security perimeter.
Okay,
that's just wherever he parked his car. But he's got bombs in it. He's got operational bombs in his car.
And he puts a drone up. What do we know about that?
So we know that he showed up around the park, I think around 1 o'clock. So the event was starting 6-ish. So they probably opened the doors at 4, let people in. He was there beforehand, just kind of walking around, looking at things, casing it. Comes back at, I think, 3:45-ish, 3:51, and flies a drone for like 20 minutes. Flies it all around, looks at everything, gets a bird's eye view. They were able to recreate the path that he had when they got the drone and the controller. But there were no pictures from that flight. So he's looking at it on his controller, flying it and seeing what it sees. But when they go to the device, there's no images on it. They can recreate the flight path, but that's it. So he does that for like 20 minutes. And what's interesting is the whole day, so the Secret Service didn't send their own drones, but they sent some guy who'd gotten trained like a month or 2 previous, not on drone mitigation, but on drone detection. So he brings his little stuff in where he can go and detect a drone. They can use it to figure out where the controller is and where a person is. Doesn't work all day. He spends like hours on the phone with an 800 number doing tech support.
No, come on.
100%. Doing tech support. Turns out he had a bad Ethernet cord. You can't make that up. He had a bad Ethernet cord, so he finally gets his working at like 4:15. Literally minutes after Crooks had been done doing his recon with his drone.
We told you before about data brokers.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
crazy
companies
coincidence.
that operate 1984 style on the basis of selling information about you. They spy on you, they monitor your online activity, and then they
Can't
sell
shoot.
it
I got
to
reduced
private
cooldowns,
businesses
so I
and
can't
to
shoot
governments.
grenades off very fast.
Who
which is
wants any
annoying.
part of that? We don't. And that's
It's
why
gonna
we use an
make
app
this
called
map move a lot
ExpressVPN.
slower than we're used to.
Unlike data brokers and the tech
to moving.
conglomerates that serve them, ExpressVPN cares about your privacy. Here's how it works. With ExpressVPN, 100% of your online activity travels through secure encrypted tunnels. And that means that everything you do online is private. Nobody, not data brokers, not big tech, not your internet provider, can track what you do online. No government knows what you're doing. ExpressVPN also just rolled out a new feature for U.S. customers called Identity Defender. It gets your data removed from data brokers' files. It monitors the dark web for your leaked information and alerts you when someone tries to use your social security number. This issue is more than
Oh, no,
just
I'm
about
dead. I
weird
can't
internet
cross it in.
surfers, creepy people in their parents' basements watching.
This guy's-
It's about freedom. You've
It's a
got the
minion
right to
from this
protect
guy.
yourself from being watched. You have the right to
You keep coming back
privacy,
to
and
life, there you go.
ExpressVPN helps you reclaim it. Right now, you get an extra 4 months for free when you use our special link. Go to expressvpn.com/Tucker and get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN. Is it true? And by the way, did the drone fly over the podium and the place where Trump was?
I don't know. In the reports that are available, they say that they recreated the flight path and it went all around the area. Whether it went right over that podium, I don't. I would assume so. You have 20 minutes. It wasn't a big area.
He gets somehow a rangefinder onto the site through a Secret Service screen.
No, I don't think he took it through the magnetometer. So one of the problems was you have this area that really isn't that big. It's a farm show. So you've got, a horse ring for people doing stuff with livestock. You've got a big field. You've got grandstands here and there. You got a bunch of barns, but it's not a big area. And you would think they would have made the whole thing the security perimeter, like a full circle all the way around. You're not getting in without getting checked for anything. But they ended up carving out this area, which was the American Glass Research, the AGR building. Kind of like the sprawling, call it like a 5-building complex. And it was from one of those roofs that he shot Trump from. And they decided, we're going to put that outside of our security perimeter. So you can get to that area without having been screened or anything. No magnetometers, no pat downs. And that's like 130, 150 yards from the president. I think he may have been around that area with the rangefinder. He may have gotten in, but they asked one of the Secret Service agents. He's like, well, a rangefinder's not a prohibited item. It's suspicious. Makes you wonder.
Why would you have a rangefinder?
Yeah, he's not golfing, okay? He's not trying to figure out, can you use the 9-iron or like my pitching wedge? But like, you know why someone has a rangefinder.
It's for shooting.
Yeah. And by the way, there's a difference between golf rangefinders and ballistic rangefinders.
Of course.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Like you get a nice ballistic rangefinder and it'll tell you not just like your horizontal distance, it'll give you your actual shooting distance, compensating for your angle of view and all that. Like that's not like, it's 108 yards.
Plus it's camo.
Yeah.
It looks like.
So they see that and the local cops flag him as suspicious. So the local cops start kind of getting on their radios and saying, hey, there's a dude with a rangefinder. Like, everyone be on the lookout for it. Secret Service doesn't really hear this because all the counter snipers, their lead counter sniper, who is the most junior person on the team, which I find fascinating. The counter snipers hadn't been used, I think, on a non-presidential event in ever. This was the first one. They put, of the 4 people they send, the most junior guy's the team leader. He doesn't even bother to go pick up his radio. It would have given him comms with all of the local police. That's mind-blowing to me.
Well, that's criminal
I was
negligence.
talking
He
to
should
a
be in
former
fucking jail.
Army Ranger sniper friend of mine. Was a
He should be
sniper
in
in
jail for
combat,
that.
was a team leader.
That's just a failure.
And
It's
before
a
I even
failure
started
of
telling
your
him
fucking
kind of the
job.
stuff
Your
I
job's to
learned
protect
and
the
stuff I
president.
knew,
You should be in jail.
he said, well, I mean, a radio as a sniper's most powerful weapon.
Everybody involved in that
It's not the
failure
gun.
of him getting almost
That's
assassinated.
actually not
should be
the
in
sniper's
jail.
job.
All of them. I don't
It's like
care
one
if
of
the citizens
7
just
things
doing
a
their
sniper
job or
does.
not. You
Like,
failed.
the most important
It's
thing they
criminal
do is they
negligence.
observe and they record and they communicate. And so this guy, who's leading all of the counter snipers, who are
It
there,
wasn't
by
just
the way,
bad
because
luck.
there
They
had been
failed
a
to do their
specific long-range threat against Trump from a foreign actor that they knew about. That's why they were there. The guy doesn't even bother to get his radio. And so when Trump is on stage, when you've got all the local cops like setting their hair on fire trying to get this guy who they know has a rangefinder, he's acting super weird. At one point, you have local law enforcement starting to draw their weapons. That's something you would think like maybe the Secret Service people on stage or the guys on roofs would want to know about. They had no idea.
I'm dead. Why am I dying?
Wouldn't, I mean, the
Well,
first
I have
priority
no-
would be
I can't
to
heal.
establish communication
I
between
can't
all
heal.
law enforcement agencies on site, right? I mean, that just seems like obvious.
I'm dead.
And they didn't
I
even
can't
have
heal.
a unified command post. They had the Secret Service in
couldn't
one
heal.
little area, and then they had the local guys over here.
game is so
and then they had, I
frustrating,
think,
bro.
one or two people who were local in the Secret Service command post, but they didn't actually have a unified command post, which is also bonkers.
It's so crazy, bro. Because watch, okay, we've been doing all 12s, right? They're getting hit with these weird
Can I ask
one shots
how
and
Crooks
taking all this
knew
damage. Watch what happens when I run a
this
14.
One
It won't
cluster
do none
of
of that
buildings
shit.
was the one place in the whole
fucking
area
so
that was
weird.
outside the security perimeter. How would you know that?
So let's define terms here. So security perimeter is where you can get in where you don't have to get a pat down or through a magnetometer. So that's just like superficially obvious. I can walk all the way over there and I don't have to go through a magnetometer. And then you've got the security bubble, which is like the area that people are responsible for, which is going to be a much broader,
bigger
bigger area than
5
just your
levels to all
security
projectile
perimeter.
skills.
He knew because he'd been walking
Holy
around there
shit,
for
that's a
5
lot.
hours.
Okay, hold on a second. That's
Totally
a lot.
unmolested. He got a drone up. He had a rangefinder. He cased the place. He knew it just by having walked around and been like, oh, there's no cops over there. I'm going to go over there.
Did we ever find out why those buildings were not under surveillance just because it was such an obvious shooting platform?
Yeah, so this is what I find the most enraging. This counter sniper team lead been deposed in a bunch of by a bunch of different committees. He gives different answers in all of them. Like, if you want,
That's
failure,
criminal too. If you're giving different
failure has a
answers
lot
to
of,
Congress under
people
oath,
to
you should be
blame.
in jail.
And so I don't think you can blame it on one person. I think you can blame it on one organization, which is the Secret Service. Utterly incompetent from top to bottom. It's a totally rotten culture with no accountability, nothing. So, and within that, you had a bunch of people who failed. But the last link of failure, which is what allowed the guy to get a shot off, was due to this counter sniper team lead. He shows up, I think, 4 days ahead of time to do his advance. So I think this would have been the Wednesday, which would have been July 10th. Trump shot on a Saturday, July 13th. He has 4 days on site, puts together his plan, kind of sketches out where he wants everyone. He never set foot on
That
or
fucking
in that
stat
building.
is shit.
Never.
Okay. That fucking ruined it with that stat.
Why? This will blow your mind. He's testifying to one congressional committee, and they're like, well, they ask him that question. So you never set foot over there? Like, even the day of, when you got time to do a final walkthrough? And he says, no, you see, because I had to go do a bunch of paperwork. And I want to make sure my paperwork was good and like wasn't fuzzy and stuff. Quote, you live and die by paperwork.
I thought you lived and died by bullets.
Yeah. No, you live and die by paperwork. He was so focused on his paperwork that he never went and actually looked around. The other thing that's crazy.
Do you know anything about this guy, by the way?
I didn't do shit.
I know a little bit. Don't know his name. He had been with the Secret Service, I think, for 6 years. No prior military experience. No prior sharpshooter or sniper experience. He showed up, worked for 2 years because you have to work like a desk or trailing someone for 2 years before you can be a counter sniper. And then he had been a counter sniper for the rest of his time there. Now, I personally find that kind of crazy. I would think if you want someone whose job is to think what a sniper thinks like and be able to have countermeasures and protect against that, you'd probably want a guy who had done that job before.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to have somebody teaching your basketball team how to do defense, you'd like to know that they've made a basket before.
Of course. Yes.
But that's not what happened here. So you had a guy who, no prior military experience, no prior sniper experience. He actually wasn't a sniper. He was a sharpshooter. He could shoot. I'm sure he could shoot well from long range. But that doesn't make you a sniper. You have to know so much. There's recon, there's observing, there's getting into position, there's communicating, there's recording. Those are all the things that people who go into sniper school in the military spend weeks and weeks doing before they ever touch a gun. And they'll talk about you can kind of teach anyone to shoot a gun.
Yes.
That's the easy part. It's mechanical. It's learning all the other stuff. It's like the real value in the job. So this guy never had that. Just ta-da, he's a counter sniper now. So he's setting up his perimeter. He had no idea when he set the people up where he wanted them for the event. So you've got Trump on stage. You've got 3 barns behind him. To Trump's 3 o'clock, which is directly north, you've got that AGR building where the shooter was. The sniper team set up directly behind Trump on 2 of the 3 barns behind him. So the ones that we've all seen in that shot where you got one guy on the tripod who pops up and looks around, and then you've got the other guy who's prone, they never saw the shooter because there's a gigantic tree in their way. From where they were, line of sight to where the building was where Crook shot, gigantic tree, blocking like a third of the building. They never saw him.
Wow.
So then you have the team leader and his partner, and his partner's the one who shot Crooks. They're on the southern barn. And so one's on one side, one's on the other. The counter sniper team leader, he never saw the shooter. Shooter was dead before he ever saw him. So you've got one guy basically in that whole area who has visibility on that roof. And you would think, oh, well, he must have been scanning that area regularly. Well, Congress deposed this guy, and he says, no, that actually wasn't my area that I was supposed to be scanning. So if you think of a clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9, Trump's in the center. Where he's looking is 12 o'clock. The position from which he was shot would be 3 o'clock. The guy who actually shot him, he was actually watching from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So east, south, and west of Trump.
Yes.
He was never looking over there. It wasn't until he heard shots that he turned over there. So of all the people who were tasked with doing counter sniper surveillance and mitigation, only one person ever actually saw the shooter, even though he'd been on the roof for 6 minutes.
So it sounds like there was a blind spot, an entire quadrant that they weren't even looking at.
Correct.
How can that be?
Incompetence. That's incompetence, laziness, and arrogance. And afterwards, the Secret Service, you might recall, tried to blame the local cops.
Of course.
Like, oh, they were supposed to do it. We had them in the building. They never told the cops, number one, that their job was to be scoping out that roof. All of the cops from the local police forces who were there to provide sniper coverage, first off, they were never told that they were counter snipers. They were told they were Overwatch. So they set up in an area in the building where they had a great shot of the crowd, pretty much the entire crowd. And they're watching it the whole time. They had no idea that they were supposed to be looking at a building roof, which is 180 degrees to their left. And because of how the window opened, it was like one of those, I think they call them casement windows. They've got the crank. So you've got to crank it, and then it slowly opens.
Yes.
It's not a double sash that opens top and bottom. I don't think they could have seen that if they had wanted to. Just because of how that window opened, they'd have to get around, like almost leaning out the window to see, which of course they're not going to be doing because they think their job is crowd Overwatch. So those guys somehow get blamed in media reports by people who are obviously Secret Service sources. Well, we put them in that building. That was their responsibility. And all of them were like, no, that was never our responsibility. We had no idea.
Also, they're local cops. It's not their job to protect the candidate or the president.
Right. Yeah. Just because you, Secret Service, have chosen to delegate, one of your responsibilities, it doesn't stop being your responsibility.
Right. It's a core responsibility. That is your whole
yours.
Right. Yeah.
You have literally one job. You don't let the president get shot in the face.
Yes.
And so they're questioning this guy, this counter sniper team lead, and they're trying to get him to admit things were done wrong. And so they're asking, so like, would you consider what happened a failure? He goes, possibly.
The candidate shot in the face, and that's a possible
Possibly.
failure?
And what's weird is...
Does this guy still work for the US
He
government?
still works for the Secret Service. He was put on admin leave for like a week. And it was more like a mental health therapy leave. Yeah, something traumatic happened.
Like Michael Bird, you murder someone and you're the victim? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he's like right back working full-time for the Secret Service.
Now?
Now. As far as we know.
Was anybody from Secret Service fired?
No, not that we know of. So you had Kim Cheadle, who is the head of Secret Service, who's a total idiot.
I thought she was a hero. She's a woman. So
Yeah,
she's a hero.
well, obviously.
Yeah.
She's strong and brave.
Yeah.
So she retires. Then you had her deputy, who was like the guy who was actually in charge of the day-to-day. He gets elevated. Doesn't get fired. Those are the first two people I fire. Instantly. Like, I find the leadership channel, like the leadership chain, and I find everyone in it, like, you're all gone. It's not personal. You might be great people, but Secret Service calls itself a zero-fail agency. You clearly failed.
Yes.
And to my knowledge, nobody's been fired.
The problem is that these are the bodyguards. And so, you know, in the Ottoman court, everyone was afraid of the bodyguards. Right? So, like,
that's who runs your coup.
That's exactly. Yeah. We're getting to like the most basic facts of life, which is the armed people are in charge. And so, you know, you hate to think that's the rule in America, but do you think it's possible that people were afraid to mess with the Secret Service because no one wants to mess with the bodyguards?
Well, I assume that's why we've never gotten the truth on the JFK shooting. Like, I just kind of assume Secret Service was involved somehow, and that's why presidents have been cowed into not releasing it.
Interesting. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like that's the most basic interest of anybody's not to get shot to death. So if you think, right. Yeah. And I'm speculating to some extent, but you do wonder. I always wondered, and I asked, like, if you're the Trump campaign, why don't you make I mean, I think, or I know that Trump thinks he doesn't want to whine about being shot because you seem weak when you want. They tried to shoot me. You know, he downplayed it on purpose. And I think that it was a manly thing to do, it was an impressive thing to do. There's dignity in that. I admire it. However, like, it is kind of important to find out what happened. And I always suspected that maybe, you know, they felt a little bit threatened because they've got a campaign. They've got months more of campaigning to do. They want to do outdoor venues. Trump loves outdoor venues. He's brave. He's obviously physically brave. We know that. On the other hand, do you really want to piss off your bodyguards? I mean, do you think that is part of the dynamic here?
I mean, how could it not be?
Well, that's
if you're a
how I
human.
feel. Right.
Yeah, you had the people on the stage. They didn't know anything was going on until Trump had been shot. Like, you would think the people on the stage who are like the literal personal protective detail, the ones who physically form.
Oh, the fat girls on the stage. Is that
No, I think there was one.
One, okay.
Yeah, but there were several men on there. Those guys are the ones who like physically have to go in, and I think they call it a body bunker. They put around the president.
Yes.
They had no idea anything was going on or there was any trouble anywhere until they hear shots fired. And they interviewed the guy who came. So if you're watching Trump and you see the Secret Service agents come in, the guy on the left gets in first. So I think the House Butler Task Force interviewed him. And they said, okay, take us through what was going on in your head in that moment. He's like, well, yeah, we heard some scuttlebutt that local police were looking at something at 3:00, like to Trump's right. That was it. He said, and then I heard like a pop. Like, and he said, my immediate thought was it sounded like one of those pop-it firecrackers just throw on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. It always does.
Yeah. And he said, so that's what I thought it was. So I thought it was a heckler in the crowd. There must have been a heckler who got the pop-its in the crowd. And then I hear the second shot. And I'm waiting to hear in my ear, heckler. He said, and then I heard the third, and that's when I knew. By the way, he's hearing nothing in his ears at this point, getting no communication. He said, that's the point at which I go and jump on the president. We hear him kind of going over us. Yeah.
With Donald Trump returning to the White House, this country has a unique opportunity, maybe our last opportunity, to save ourselves from the anti-American and anti-human left. But our efforts may be stymied by the deep state. That's what happened to the first Trump term. Permanent Washington stands in the way of all efforts to improve the lives of ordinary Americans. And right now they are scheming to do the same thing to the second Trump administration. They are determined to keep their stranglehold on power, regardless of elections, anti-democratically. That is a fact. So what do you do to fight them? How do you defeat the deep state? Well, one way you can is by supporting the Heritage Foundation, which is in Washington and understands exactly how it works in such a way that they're a threat and they're under attack. You know who's effective because they're the ones under attack. Heritage has a comprehensive plan to dismantle permanent Washington and restore the country to its democratic foundations. It's important. Visit heritage.org/Tucker to learn more and to support this critical effort. And when you make a gift today, you get a free pocket constitution to make certain that you are equipped with the founding principles on your person at all times. It's amazing to read it. Again, that's heritage.org/Tucker. Wow, that's so. Of the 8 shots, like, where did they go? Those 8 shots?
I think they were only able to find actual bullet fragments from 2. So there were 10 shots fired total. There were 8 from Crooks. There was 1 from a local law enforcement officer who shot almost simultaneously with Crooks's 8th shot. So you have 1, 2, 3, you had a burst of 3, then you had a burst of 5, and then the 5 like all went high. One of them hit a hydraulic line on one of those like telehandlers or lulls or cranes behind it, so it starts spewing hydraulic fluid everywhere, and you see it drop all of a sudden after the hydraulic line gets punctured, if you watch the video again. So I think that was from that second group. So it was 3 and then 5. As Crooks fired his 8th shot, a local officer fires his gun at Crooks. He swears he got him. There's no like forensic medical evidence that he did, but there's no firing from Crooks after that point, after that 8th shot. And then 15 seconds later comes the shot that kills Crooks.
No way.
15 seconds. And the reason that happened was because nobody had eyes on the roof. So you had your sniper.
15 seconds?
Yep.
So that's an entire magazine worth of... I mean, you could fire an entire...
Easy. With an AR, you could easily unload a mag.
Oh, that is crazy town.
Yeah, so you have the sniper who's on the roof who takes the shot. He's been watching. So, like, if you are Crooks, if you're where their shooter is, and I'm where Trump is, the guy...
Sorry about that, guys. My wife was talking to me.
Guy who shot him is looking here and all the way over here the whole time. He's looking to his left and back around.
Yes.
So he hears the shots. He has to get up, orient himself to where the shots are coming from, where if he's got like earmuffs on or ear protection on, that can be kind of hard to do because those play tricks with locating sound.
Yeah, it's
so
impossible.
he's got to locate the guy where the shots are coming from, has to make identification of the guy who's got the gun, and then has to fire at him. It's like, I don't even blame that guy, because he was told to watch this sector. He's watching it. But yeah, 15 seconds. And he fires one shot.
Who is it? Okay, with a 308?
300 Win Mag.
Wow.
That's a big boy gun.
That's a scary gun.
So it's 300 Win Mag.
Really? Is that what they use?
Yeah, Black Hills ammunition. So the cartridge was Black Hills.
Yeah.
It was a 210 grain hollow point tip on it. So
that ends the conversation. So that, for people who don't shoot, that's so much larger than the 223 or 5.56 round that Crooks is shooting. I mean, it's just...
and the cartridge is huge.
Yeah, it's like $4 a cartridge.
I mean, it's like, that's a big boy cartridge. And when you fire a 300 Win Mag, like, you feel that. You get fatigued pretty quick.
I had someone come to my range, just at my house, and with his grandfather's 300 Win Mag, we were just shooting on Sunday afternoon, and he just charges the thing, and I was like, man, no more of that. That's just too loud. I can't deal with it.
So loud.
Yeah, it shakes my molars.
Yeah, you go to a range where someone's shooting like 300 or up, and you're like,
it's impolite.
I don't know. Put a suppressor on it.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
yeah, and 210 grain. That's a big bullet.
Yes.
And so I think he hits him from 155 yards, and it hit him in the lip, goes through the face, out the neck, but then back into his back, and they recovered a fragment of the mushroomed bullet from Crooks's body.
Well, he didn't suffer. Not with the 210 grain from a 300 Win Mag.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell me about the cop who says he shot Crooks. Where was he?
So there was this furious action going on by the AGR building. Yeah, I believe there were either 4 or 5 different local law enforcement agencies. So you had the Pennsylvania State Police, you had the troopers. You had Butler County Police. So Butler County was the county where Butler is. You had the Butler Township Police.
Yes.
You had the Beaver County, I think, sheriffs. So they're one county west of Butler. And then you had the Washington County, which is southwest of Butler. So you had 5 different local law enforcement. The Washington guys, I believe, were down by the horse ring.
Yep.
Which is probably a good 400 to 500 yards away from everything. But they had fairly good visual coverage of everything. So it was mostly the Butler and Beaver County people. So they're furiously searching around. You've got one guy who tried to climb on the roof because they're furiously searching. He climbs on the roof. His partner hoists him up. So he's kind of holding on like this to the roof, looks up and sees the shooter right there. He says the shooter turns on him and aims him. And he said, I don't know what happened next. I don't know if I lost my grip. He said, next thing I know, I'm on the ground. I'm on the concrete. He said, there's no way for me to pull my gun because he's like hanging, like doing a pull up. It's like I'm hanging there. I'm not going to be able to like.
No.
So he says, I don't remember exactly what happened. All I know is I saw him. Crooks turned and aimed his rifle at me. And the next thing I know, I'm getting myself up off the concrete.
Damn. So who is the cop who says he shot Crooks?
I think it was a Beaver County cop.
At some distance, though.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't right on him, but he had him in his sights, fired one round.
With a rifle?
With a rifle. Swears he shot him.
But there's no evidence that he did.
There's no forensic evidence in Crooks's body that he was shot. But Crooks stopped firing after the 8th round, which was simultaneous with the round from that cop. So, did he hit the gun, maybe? There's some speculation that he might have hit the stock.
Well, it sounds like he stopped the shooting.
He absolutely did. Whether he hit him or not, he absolutely did.
So a magazine has obviously more than 8 rounds in it. And I assume Crooks's did as well. He had unfired rounds in the mag when the rifle was recovered, right?
They recovered, I think, all 8 shell casings.
No, but he still had ammunition in the magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So what I'm asking is, it sounds like the local cop stopped the shooting.
Yeah. He didn't run out. He didn't stop shooting because he ran out of ammo.
Exactly.
Correct.
So it was not the Secret Service that stopped this assassination attempt. It was local cops. I mean,
yeah, that's when the shooting stopped.
Yeah.
Now, it stopped permanently when he got a 210 grain Hornady tip through his upper lip.
Yeah.
But the shooting had been stopped prior to that.
Wow. 15 seconds, as noted, is a very long time. Why?
Because they had no eyes on him. You had your 2 snipers on the roof in the north barn, and that was the number 2 unit, how they were kind of categorized in all the documents. They never saw him because they had a gigantic tree in their way. It was impossible. And so it's interesting, we all watched that footage. Everyone's wondering who got him. So they see the guy who's kind of kneeling down. He's on the big tripod. People automatically assumed, oh, well, he did it. And then he's got the guy prone next to him. No, well, he must have been the one to do it. You see him, like he's either looking through, I think, his binoculars. He might have been looking through his scope.
That one, but we're gonna run
He
on
hears the
lower
gunshots
level.
and he pops up.
Just so we can complete.
Do you remember this in the video?
Yeah.
Pops up and he kind of looks around and you're like, why is he off the glass? That's weird. He doesn't know where it came from. Like those 2 guys on that north barn are furiously looking where it is.
There's no way you could know. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
impossible to know.
Yeah.
Unless you were had someone looking there.
Exactly, which they didn't. And then you have the counter sniper team lead who had convinced himself that because they had local cops in the building, that was their job to be watching that, even though it was physically impossible for them to do. And they were never told they had to do that. And then the one guy who had a sight line to that was assigned a sector that was exact opposite of it. How, like, that's a lot of incompetence.
It's unbelievable. So 3 people were shot, 2 in addition to President Trump.
Yeah, that was your question. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So you said, where did the bullets go?
Yeah.
So 3 people were shot. Corey Comparator, the firefighter, he was shot. 2 other men were shot. We know
2 other men.
Yes, there were 4 people shot. Trump.
All right.
2 men who were shot and didn't die, and Corey, who was killed by a bullet.
Yeah, right next to my producer, like right next to him.
All right, guys. I think this is gonna be my last one, and then I'm gonna hop off the wall.
Yeah, it was right there. He said he was covered in blood.
Fucking bats
From it. Yeah, I'm only saying that because there's just a lot of drama.
Yeah.
It's not just Trump getting shot in the face.
Yeah, man died.
Yeah, was murdered.
Yeah.
And 2 others were shot. Do we know anything about them or how they fared?
They're alive and well. There was an interview with them by one of the networks a couple weeks ago, but they're alive and well. They're talking about it. Obviously, they'll carry scars with it forever. But I don't believe they were permanently disabled in any way.
Damn.
But they couldn't account for all the bullets.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. You know, something nicks a bleacher and goes off into the ground. You're never finding a bullet.
These are 22 caliber bullets, just to be clear.
Yep.
These are
so they were 223 caliber bullets in a 5.56 cartridge.
Right.
Yeah.
But the bullet itself is 22 caliber.
Yep.
These are tiny.
Very small.
Yeah.
People who don't shoot guns and think ARs are massive, big, powerful guns, they'd be shocked at how tiny 223 rounds are.
Right. The point is
They're
the
like
velocity. The point
exactly.
is how fast they're going. But it's not a 210 grain Hornady tip 300
Right.
mag. Right. Which you could not mistake for anything but like a bullet.
Right.
Yeah. So, wow. Okay. So we know nothing about the shooter. We know nothing about why he did this, his beliefs, who he spoke to. We know nothing about him.
He's a cipher. Yeah, no, literally nothing.
He's the only 20-year-old with no social media presence, and apparently no cutlery, silverware in his house.
So yeah, I remember that
One of
news
my daughters
report.
just told me that.
So it was reported that afterwards. My theory is that silverware was taken as evidence because he was mixing bombs in his house.
Oh.
I did not read anywhere that when officers showed up, because they interviewed one ATF agent who was actually in the home and who's the one who discovered the IED in Crooks's bedroom. No mention of no silverware. He's like, no, it's a normal house. It was well kept. It was clean. It's not like a bunch of sloppy hoarders lived there. It's like a nice, normal house in order. Yeah, so I don't know where the silverware, because I've heard the same thing. I've not read a single report from someone who was there that says, yeah, we got in there and there's no silverware. I suspect that they took it to test it forensically to see if he was mixing bombs with it. Because he had a gallon of nitromethane in his closet. It was openly viewable.
What? Pardon my ignorance. What's nitromethane?
It's a major component of bomb making. It's liquid, has an odor. And
can you buy it?
Yeah.
At a hardware store?
Yeah. Totally buy it off the shelf.
Huh. Nitromethane.
Yeah, so he had a gallon of it. And so the ATF guy walks in, sees the bomb, looks around, sees in his closet this gallon of explosive material. And then at that point, they immediately clear the whole house, and I believe all the houses, one house around it.
Wow. But we still don't know anything about him or why he did this. We also don't know why, according to your account, why the Secret Service made this like colossal error in judgment and just like left out an entire quadrant of a potential field of fire, just kind of ignored it. We don't know why.
No.
But we do know.
They'll blame it on manpower. That's always the easy bureaucratic solution.
But even that, is it true that Dr. Jill Biden, America's, I think, most famous
what did Whoopi say?
Scientist.
Amazing doctor. Amazing doctor. She should be Surgeon General.
But is it true that she was having an event and that bled off like manpower that could have been used at the Trump event?
Yes, one, it didn't just bleed off manpower. So she had an event in Pittsburgh. There was bleed off in the radios. So the Secret Service at the Butler event for Trump was actually having issues with their radios because they were getting bleed over from the radios from the agents at Jill Biden's event.
Dr. Jill's
Dr. Jill, excuse me, Dr. Jill.
That's incredible. And okay, so that's a whole lot of we don't knows. Like, so your third question was what happened after to everybody?
Yep, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, sorry to break the suspense there, but like nothing.
Okay. So what do you think this adds up to? You said you were vacillating between 2 and 3. Can you remind us what?
Yeah, so 2 was what I call strategic incompetence, where Trump was deliberately left vulnerable. And I think that for a whole host of reasons. One, that I'm conscious and I've been alive. But right after the shooting, my wife and I were together working on home projects, and we hadn't been paying attention to our phones, and so started getting texts from people. My wife got a text from her friend, Trump's been shot. Like, we're just kind of like stunned, like immediately pray, because we don't know what the result is. A couple minutes later, text that he's okay. And then right after that, my phone starts going crazy. I'm getting texts and everything. And one of the most interesting texts I got, which I tweeted about, was that the Secret Service Special Operations Division, which is kind of like the elite division within the Secret Service, if you can say that, they had been asking for more protection for years for Trump, repeatedly, over and over and again. And it was denied, repeatedly. Denied so much that they just stopped asking for it. Because it was kind of viewed as if you ask for something you're not going to get, it's like gauche within the agency.
Denied by whom?
Another great question we don't have an answer to. So Secret Service is now under the umbrella of DHS.
Yeah, it was always under Treasury.
Yeah, it was. And then they moved it, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
So under Mayorkas, like a real competent public servant there.
Patriot. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got him. Did the rejections come from DHS? I don't know. You've got Cheadle up there, who's an idiot. Did it come from her? I don't know.
Where did she go when she retired, by the way? Is she just retired?
I don't think we know. Actually, no, I'm going to assume she's doing security for like a Fortune 500 CEO.
Yeah, exactly. Or a University of California school,
Right. But no, we don't know where she is now.
Yeah. But it's not clear why they denied or who denied.
Nope. Don't know why, who, how often. And that weekend, so I put that out. It gets some traction. Secret Service spokesman, Anthony Guglielmi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's something like that. Spent the whole weekend calling reporters and telling them I was making it up. That never happened. puts out a statement. It's not true. He's never denied anything.
Bobby Kennedy was denied Secret Service protection. You know, they didn't want to run against him. They'd rather he be dead.
Clearly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And, but that's such sinister behavior. I mean, that's a kind of attempted murder, really. So I just don't understand how, I mean, disobedience to the regime is punished immediately. Tax evasion is punished immediately. But, like, attempted murder is not?
Well, you're asking who's Thomas Crooks. We know more about Joe the plumber. You remember Joe the plumber?
Very well. He died, unfortunately.
He did.
I knew him, yeah.
He asked a question about taxes to Obama, like in a rope line.
Yeah.
They gave that dude, like, the media digital colonoscopy within, like, 5 minutes. We know more about a guy who asked Obama a question about taxes than we do about a guy who shot Trump in the head.
Well, of course. The media really are a player in all this. They're not just, like, dupes. They're not just, you know, the PR office for the regime. They are like they are players. They're active participants in you know, totalitarianism, I would say.
Do you know how Crooks' father found out his son was the shooter?
No.
CNN called him.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we're talking about kind of like weird, creepy media stuff.
Yeah.
So there's no ID on Thomas Crooks. They get to the body. He's dead. They don't know who he is. The only thing they have is a serial number on his rifle. So they call up ATF and they do what's called an urgent trace to figure out where was this gun bought. I think it takes them, Dettelbach, the ATF director, says it took him 30 minutes. I think it took like 2 hours. But they know by around like 8:30, definitely by 9-ish, that the dad bought the gun and where he bought it from. And it was from a retailer that had since been closed. They put together a report, like a pretty narrow distribution of people. I think it went to Pennsylvania State Police, so local police could go stake the place out. Went to FBI, ATF had it, but it's a very, very small distribution. And we know because we got the testimony from the guy who sent it out. ATF and a couple cops are sent to go do a stakeout on Crooks' father's house. So they get there, we'll call it like 10 or 10:30. At that point, they're already seeing cars slowly drive by in ways that obviously they don't live on that street. And I think 10:56, they get a word from a dispatcher that Crooks' father has called 911 to report his son missing. At that point, they're no longer doing a stakeout. They have to go confront him because obviously he knows something. They go up to his door. He meets them out there. And he says, "Is it true? Was it my son?" And they ask him, "Why would you say that?" He said, "CNN called me and told me." He got 2 calls from CNN and a call from an NBC producer.
How that does not make sense at all. How could that happen?
Somebody leaked it.
But how would someone know who he was?
They had it from the ATF report that had the trace of the serial number. So somebody, the ATF report, somebody had that and decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call CNN and NBC. They don't know who did it.
But it's interesting that they would know it was the son because it was the father on the ATF record. He's the one who purchased the rifle.
Right.
So, but somehow CNN and NBC knew that it was not the father but the son.
Well, because at that point, did we know the age of the person?
I don't think we knew anything.
Yeah. So yeah, CNN called me and told me. And when I found that out, by the way, I'm still angry about the whole Roger Stone raid.
I am just thinking that exact thing. That's so funny.
CNN happened to be there that morning, right before the cops got there. They are liars. They are liars. They absolutely had it leaked to them.
Oh, I know.
And so I saw that, and it just instantly reminded me of the Roger Stone thing, and it made me angry again.
I was just thinking that to be active participants in the repression of a population by its government is like pretty, it's like capo behavior. It's like really, really dark and evil. And that's who they are. I spent 10 years there, I know.
Yep.
Millions of Americans are still clinging to their New Year's resolutions, but some goals transcend the flipping of the calendar. Being prepared should always be a goal. When a crisis hits, the last thing you want is to be scrambling for something basic like medication. And that's why the Jace case changes the game. The Jace case is your personal emergency supply of life-saving medications, antibiotics, critical prescriptions, things you're actually going to need when pharmacies are not available. The Jace case's protection is totally necessary. So as you're planning for the rest of this year, make emergency preparedness a top priority. We don't know what's coming next. We do know preparation beats panic every single time. So with the Jace case, you'll have peace of mind knowing that you are ready for whatever happens. Go to jacecase.com, enter the code Tucker to make sure you have the right meds on hand when you need them, which is usually the moment when you can't get them. Jace. I didn't fully know when I was there, but like, yeah, no, they're not observers at all.
They're players.
They're players. They're big players. That's why they hate the internet so much.
But that leak, it materially changed how the police responded. They found bombs. They're trying to get a perimeter. They're trying to keep an eye on things. They're waiting to get the signal to actually go confront the family. And because this guy I'm convinced that he called police after being called by CNN.
Yeah.
It's not in the report, but you'll never convince me otherwise. Materially changed how the cops had to approach the home of the shooter. To me, it's just unconscionable.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
And then let's imagine you're CNN, you think you got this great scoop. What are you getting out of informing a father of that? Because they didn't report it.
Right. Well, they do a lot that they don't report.
Yeah.
A lot, including in the Roger Stone raid. I mean, they were participants in political repression, cheerleaders for it, but not just cheerleaders. They were part of the process.
Yep.
They were used by the Biden administration to... Well, that was actually the Trump.
I think that was the Trump FBI still, although it's all the same.
Right. It's just crazy that that could have happened. The lack of control over the federal agencies by the executive, by the White House is I hope we never see that again, because that's really dark. But anyway, yeah, no, CNN, very, very bad. So is there, I know I've asked the same question 15 times, but I can't believe there's no real answer. We don't know anything about who Crooks talked to?
No.
Before this?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope. Don't know who he was texting. Don't know what was going on these encrypted apps. We know he went to the range that day.
But why not? Why doesn't the Congress issue subpoenas to find out?
Because they're completely weak and neutered. I mean, my view is Congress is by far the most powerful branch.
Of course.
It controls the purse.
It's designed to be.
Exactly. And yet, in practice today in 2025, it's far and away the weakest.
Except when they do the one thing that they do, which is to preserve the total control over the United States by the national security state. And so you're seeing this right now where, committee chairmen in the Congress are saying to the incoming administration, no. It has to be all deep staters. You can't have Tulsi Gabbard or anyone like Tulsi Gabbard. It's all got to be, John Ratcliffe or someone, we know and who's obviously under our control. And they're insistent on that, exercising that power, which I find really interesting.
And how long? I was so naive. I believed that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq because they told us there were. Why would they lie? So it didn't dawn on me that they were all just corrupt liars until really the Russiagate hoax. But it didn't start in 2001. I feel like it's been that way for 70 years.
Well, it's certainly been that way. I mean, we know for a fact it's been that way since right around late November of 1963. We just know that. So, but I agree. I mean, I just think it goes back to, the Second World War.
Yeah, because they didn't. Their first
bad.
crime was
the good war.
Their first crime was not killing Kennedy. That wasn't dipping their toes in the water.
No. They had some practice rounds. It's just interesting that this seems like one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, and I do think you're probably the most informed person in all media, though I don't know if you'd admit to being in media, but do you think of yourself as in media?
Well, I don't like to use the J word.
I know.
It's filthy.
I know. It's funny. You and Schellenberger are two of my favorite, right at the top of my favorite journalist list, and neither one of you started out intending to do this or have went to journalism school. You're both doing completely different things. It's interesting.
That's actually how it should be.
I totally agree.
That's actually how it used to be.
I know.
It used to be a blue collar job and you'd work a beat, and now you have to go to Medill or Columbia, and it's just embarrassing.
No, it's interesting. The journalists I respect more are all people who could be doing something else, making a lot more money, who didn't set out to do this, just sort of out of curiosity and patriotism and, kind of moral responsibility are doing it. So, and you're in that category. So thank you. But anyway, the reason I want to talk to you was it felt like if you can do something as obvious as set up a shooting of Donald Trump in the summer of an election year and get away with it, like, then you're still in control of everything.
So the craziest thing, and people in Trump's circle have told me there's no chance it could have happened this way. Right. They swear there's no way it happened this way. Do you remember JD's Rogan interview?
Yes.
He's kind of talking about when his process of interviewing to be VP and all that. And Trump was considering bringing him up at that Butler rally and announcing him.
I know. Yeah, I know. That was not just considering, but that was like a much discussed.
Oh yeah. So kind of at that point, JD's been told, like, you're it. And now we know with Trump, like, it's never actually done until it's done. So it wasn't technically done.
It was done Monday afternoon, though. That was Saturday.
Yeah.
I can never do anything
but
decent.
JD's been told they're mulling the idea of him going to Butler, and then Trump's like, nah, we don't really want to do that. We haven't done the prep and all that, so we'll just put a pin in that. That was the last rally before he had announced a VP. So that's, if you are a crooked, evil deep stater and you want to get rid of the virus that is Donald Trump and make sure that he doesn't get to pick the person who would be running in his stead if something happens.
Make sure he doesn't get to reproduce.
That's when you would do it. And so I've asked,
we might die. We're going to try. We might die.
He said, no, impossible. No one leaked it. And I said, okay, I 100% believe. Like, kind of just knowing who's around that, 100% believe that. You're telling me it's impossible that nobody heard the conversation through other means?
Leaked the fact that JD was going to speak at that rally?
Or leaked that, like, he had basically been picked.
Oh, no, that was known. Well, I knew that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
We're in different circles,
No,
Tucker.
not really. I mean, I'm not like living in some weird rural place, but in Maine. But no, I knew that. Absolutely. And a lot of people knew that. I mean, all the people I know who knew that are good people who love Trump. I mean, I'm not suggesting anything, but I'm just in point of fact, a lot of people knew.
Yeah. So if other people knew it, that is
so the more people who know, the more people who know.
Yeah. So I just that thing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get that out of my head.
Clear as much as we could.
The timing, based on what was going on that weekend.
But there was at least one subsequent assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. Were there others?
Yeah, get anything good.
So you're talking about the West Palm one?
Yeah,
with
but I mean
Ukrainian
after mid-July, were there? Do you think other attempts?
I don't know. Were there?
I don't know, but I think there might have been.
We just didn't hear about him.
I think that's entirely possible.
I would buy that.
Yeah. So, who was the West Palm? The West Palm guy was like,
that one is so much wackier than the Butler
in touch
one.
with all these members of Congress.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a photo of him with that stupid chef, that stupid commie chef. What's his name?
I don't have a TV.
Jose Andres something. I think that guy got a Presidential Medal of Freedom from Biden. There's a picture of him with him. He's like palling around.
Not really.
Yeah, I think, unless I'm like totally getting my wires crossed, I'm pretty sure that guy got a Medal of Freedom, and there's a picture of him with Routh, this like homeless Hawaiian mercenary bringing troops to Ukraine who's camped out on Trump's golf course after Trump's already been shot in the head, and a Secret Service guy happens to see him. I think the report I read was he was 5 feet away, fires like 10 rounds at him, misses. And it was local cops who got the guy 45 minutes later. How does that happen?
It's all so incredible.
Yeah.
All right.
So
all right, I think we're going to take
the
a break
members.
from
I
here.
just want to put it on the record. The members of Congress. You said that the two
We gotta
committee
keep working our
inquiries
way
were pretty
around.
good.
We got two more towers
Given
to
the
hit, and
constraints
we
that
can
they have,
activate
so
all
Congress
these.
doesn't have a lot of staff for doing this stuff.
Right.
They had
We
no
had a terrible
time. They
time
don't
getting
have the
viewers today.
investigative
All right,
tools
guys.
that the FBI has.
I'm gonna get out of here for right
You
now.
had this-
I'm gonna go eat some food. I might be back on later. If not, I will see you guys Monday at the normal time, 11 a.m. All right, guys. We'll check you later. Peace.